Okay, let's unmute that. Perfect. Hey Marie, how's it going? How's your day treating you? All right. Just speaking of which, Marie gave me a hell of a comment here on my poll I did today. Fuck, not one person voted. Are you kidding me? You little bastards. That's okay. Okay, there. Got that up. Got that up. Jesse, I see you, buddy. How's it going, buddy?
Good.
Is my okay? Good. My volume is working. I was like, shit. Is it working? How's your week been?
I have to say tiring, but fine.
Yeah, has this been a busy week at work?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get you. I know you can't talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, guys. Sorry, the two cats are about to fight. Thanks, Cheyenne. As they chase. Oh, that's funny. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, we had the topic for today. We were going to talk about physical copies and digital copies. I know you gave me a really good rundown on your thoughts, Jesse. But Marie also chimed in. Sorry, Marie, I can't see Twitch at the moment. I'll switch back to that. But basically, she made a comment on my Twitter post saying that, ooh, interesting. I prefer digital because I'm a hot mess and always losing things. But I also am skeptical of the fact that things can cease to exist at any given moment. So I have so little faith in corporations to do the right by their audience. So, life experience, totally true. But I do understand why you prefer digital. Dude, I also miss midnight releases, lining up in front of a store to get release night swag with my physical disc. Something very special about the 11:55 p.m. Found family you meet trying to get the free deck of Fallout poker cards. Fallout had poker cards? That's interesting. I didn't. I mean, I kind of missed out on all that stuff for the releases. I think I did Halo 2. Halo 2 is the only one I actually, whatchamacallit, did a midnight release for. Those are solid points to bring up because I totally forgot about the fact that that really doesn't exist anymore. Like midnight launches. Doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Like oops, sorry.
It's been forever since I've heard of a waiting line at a store or something, right?
Yeah. Did you ever do any of those, Jesse? Like, did you ever wait out for a video game or no?
No, not really. No. I mean, pre-orders were a thing, so there was no need really to wait in line.
Yeah.
Plus, I had school. My parents would make me miss school for that. So.
That's true. I was trying to think. Yeah, I was like, yeah, why we had pre-orders? I wonder why we did the midnight releases. But I mean, you do bring up a good point, Maria, is the fact that they usually gave people like swag, as you put it, in the lineups, special little things. But then I don't know. I think back to like how the Super Show said it too. Because Jamie brought up a really good point one time. It's like it's really great to have that stuff, but after a while, it's just like stuff that just collects dust,
Well, I mean, pre-orders weren't always a thing, so I just think it's a leftover of when there was no pre-order system.
Yeah, because I was trying to think, because I know Halo 2, the one I was describing, I know there were pre-orders for that game, so it must have been before that timeline then, when they weren't, when they haven't started yet. Sorry, but like I don't remember, like I can't remember an N64 game. I'll put it that way that had like a midnight release where people were waiting in line. Like I can't picture one game like that. When I picture like those midnight releases, it was around, I would say, like the Xbox 360 time. Unless you guys remember differently.
No. Well, I remember being in line. It wasn't a midnight line, but I was in line for the Nintendo Wii. And
yeah,
they were giving tickets to the people that were in line, because there were just a set amount. And it stopped just in front of me.
Oh, how lucky is that?
No, in front of me.
Oh,
I
in front of
wasn't
you. Oh,
lucky.
sorry. I thought you meant like you were the last one to get it.
No, I would have been, but no. It was
Oh,
just the guy after me that got it.
oh shit.
I was so disappointed.
I get that though. Yeah, the Wii was a pretty good release. That one was a pretty good launch.
Well, I mean, everybody was hyping because it was the first, really motion console game, right? Or
Yeah.
game console. And not only that, but even when you would go to, let's say, stores, they would say you would come in to buy a console, and they would say, "No, you should wait for the Wii. It's going to be big,"
That's you.
Yeah.
Because I remember entering to EB Games, and I came because I needed a new console. I didn't buy any Xbox 360 or anything, and I came in to buy something, and the store was the store guy just told, "Oh, you should wait because the Wii's gonna come out and it's gonna be a big thing, and all that." So waited,
I mean,
and
he
then
wasn't
waited
wrong.
again.
He wasn't wrong. It was a big launch.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was just sorry. I went quiet because I was just trying to think. Like the only things I can really remember that were motion control at the time, and they weren't the best, was I remember the original Nintendo. I guess little branching out, but they had a floor mat for this one particular game. It was like an Olympic game, and you could run on it, you could jump on it, and it interacted with the character on the screen for just that one particular game. I don't know if they had any other ones, but I do remember that one. So that was kind of cool. Like if you were running like on the mat, like your character would be running, right? And then I do remember the Sega Genesis had this terrible like hexagon circle thing, and it was made for certain fighting games. And if you stood in the middle of it, it would register your kicks and punches. Not very well, but it did kind of work. So yeah, you're right. Like the Wii really kicked it off as far as motion controls go.
Well, the original Nintendo had all sorts of weird gizmos and stuff that were specific to one or two games, and
Yeah, I never got to try the Power Glove. I really wanted to, just to see how terrible it was. I did get to try that Super Scope though, the one where you're like fire, fire.
yeah. Oh, I know of them through the Angry Video Game Nerd.
Yes. Oh yes.
I watched all of his vid at the time, but it was hilarious.
I
But
totally forgot you've seen him before. Yeah, he's so good.
what a wild concept though, the Power Glove. Like, how do you pitch that to a company and or in the company? A great idea of how we could do something, and the Power Glove is the pitch. It's just it baffles me that anybody just went, yeah, no, that's a good idea. Just we'll put in numbers and stuff on the glove and motion with the hands, and I don't know. It's just weird.
I'm not gonna lie, I was in tears in that video. It was just so funny trying to watch him struggle so hard to land a plane using the freaking Power Glove.
Yeah.
Like it
And
was,
then he he fought and won against the best enemy, the strongest boss that he couldn't beat while talking without even looking at the screen with the Power Glove. That was pretty hilarious as well.
yeah,
From Castlevania 2, I guess. I think
Yeah.
Simon's Quest,
I think you're right. Yeah.
where he fights a shadow self or something.
Oh man.
I don't know if he still does Angry Video Game Nerd. It's been a long time since I haven't listened to him.
You know, it's interesting. I know I know he was doing it for a while there, but I think he did branch out, and I want to say he has like he rebranded his thing as Cinema Massacre, and I think he also talks
Well,
about
that's always has been his
Was it-
website and
Oh!
production
yeah, because I know it kind of
house type.
I know it's like a lot more focused like on older movies and TV shows, but maybe you're right. Yeah, maybe it was popping up more because I was watching him.
Well, he got known through Angry Video Game Nerd, but he always did, like film stuff as well. But yeah, and he did a couple of side stuff like Board Game James
Yeah.
and other stuff.
I was gonna say, I remember the board game ones. I can't remember. There was another guy too, that he would partner up with every once in a while. There was one guy that did like the movies and the TV shows. I can't remember his name because there was like the angry video game nerd, right? And then there was the other guy that was like his rival, I guess. They did like
I don't remember.
yeah, they did a few, like maybe one or two episodes together where he had him try out a video game and then he would watch a shitty movie. It was really funny though. I'll have to look him up next time and post him.
I think my favorite one is the Christmas Carol one he did, where he plays Silver Surfer and Shaq Fu.
Oh
I think
yeah,
that's my favorite one of all of them.
yeah, that one's good. Yeah, that was a good one. Oh man, I haven't watched him so long. God, it must be like 8 years now. Um,
Oh, way more than that, I think. Let me
trying.
search.
Yeah, I'm really curious. Okay, I have to just see because I want to see who that guy was that did it with him. Sorry, y'all. Nostalgia trip right now. Angry.
There was also Home Alone 2 in that same episode that was super funny.
Yeah.
2014, the episode I'm talking about. On YouTube, so it could have been even before that.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, no, it looks like he still is doing them. Nice. Wow, that's a long time to keep running a channel.
Yep.
Good on him. Yeah, I'll have to search later on because it'll take a little bit, but I'll post the other guy that he used to partner up with because they were pretty funny together. But yeah, so anyway, so I know you kind of give your statement there on Discord, Jesse. But did you have anything you wanted to add for the podcast as far as physical copies versus digital copies? I was really interested. I didn't know that Remedy until I was like doing a little bit of research. Fully admitted that they want to go forward with the digital only.
I'm not surprised because they tried to did something similar with the first Alan Wake back on Xbox 360.
Oh,
Like there were physical copies being sold, but I think there was they advertise a lot the digital version of it, selling a code for it, and I remember it came with the Xbox 360. Well, mine actually, with the code to Alan Wake. So I'm not surprised on that level, but I am a bit disappointed because, of course, I'm a physical copy type of guy. So it would have been fun to have it.
and like
Because now PlayStation owns it and not me, because I'll have to buy it through the PlayStation Store.
yeah. I was also thinking of this too. I mean, I have my own reasons, but I was just curious what you guys might have. Um, were you this passionate about having a physical copy when it came to CDs and DVDs or Blu-rays and all that, or do you find like with video games, like it's like a different element when it comes to having a physical copy?
Oh, yes and no. It's the same in the sense I will keep the ones that I really love,
Okay.
and physical, so I can play them anytime I want. But also, I've sold a lot of them compared to my film collection, let's say. Um,
So you
Video games is the only medium where I think I've bought games and then resold them.
so you still
Like I
have
don't have a
some
big,
DVDs,
big,
right?
big collection of. I don't have a big, big, big collection of games, but I have a giant collection of films that are in multiple uh, places.
Okay. I was curious, right? Because I'm the same way too. I still have a big chunk of DVDs. Every once in a while, Cheyenne's like, "Hey, we should probably just get rid of these finally." I was like, "I can't. Like, I honestly can't." And it's not like I pull them out often and watch them, right? But it's like what you said. Like some of them are just like they really stuck with you. Those movies. CDs, not so
Well,
much though.
I used to pull out and watch them a lot, but as time goes on, you have time. You put your time on other things.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, yeah, it's good to own like really good stories that you want to remember and be able to watch. Or if you talk to someone, they're like, "Oh, I've never seen this," whatever, and then you're like, "Well, you're in luck. We can watch it right now. I have it, right?
Yeah.
Compared to, let's say, oh, I haven't watched this. Okay, let's see if it's on Netflix. It's not on Netflix. Let's see if it's on Crave. It's not on Crave. Let's see if it's on Amazon. Oh, it is on Amazon, but you have to pay $30 for a renting that you will have for 72 hours.
Yeah.
Well, it depends of which film, but most of them I would say it's actually $5 Canadian dollars for Amazon.
Like it was like a crazy busy work today, but I was thinking about it a lot in the back of my mind, and like I guess I'm kind of like Marie. I'm on the fence. I do see the positives to both sides, right? And I think exactly what you're saying is hitting the nail on the head with it. There are certain games that I'll want to have a physical copy of because, like you just said, I want to pull it out and hey, you never played this before. Well, here you go. Or movie. Music's a little different, I think, because music's just so easy to access. And in all honesty, I don't think there's like a particular CD that I'm very passionate about. It's usually a few songs here and there. Um, but movies, obviously, and TV shows, right? There will be seasons that I'll be passionate about, etc., etc. Um, so anyway, in that aspect, like, yeah, I'll fight it to the grave that I always want to keep a physical copy. But in the long term of it all, I don't need to own every single movie out there. I don't need to buy every single movie out there. So in those aspects, I do like the streaming services. Again, if I really am passionate about it, like Jay and Silent Bob, I fucking love that movie, so I'll always own that one on DVD. But like you said, it might be multiple movies coming out this year. I may only like two of them in that same like passion. Like I might actually, sorry, I might really enjoy two of them, and the other ones were kind of just like, okay, I watched it for the sake of watching it. And I view it the same way as games, right? Like there's lots of games out there I might want to play, but not a lot that I'm going to really say, hey, I love this game. And those ones, yeah, I'd want to have the physical copies for. So,
Right.
I guess for me, like that's what I was saying earlier, like if we did have to go all digital, I hope that companies would still make either a pre-order for a physical disc or come up with some kind of system where you could at least still buy a physical copy if you wanted to buy the physical copy. I totally respect the fact if I have to pay a little extra because like you brought up a good point, right? Like there's shipping it out, there's all this extra work that goes behind sending you those discs. So I get the factor if I have to pay a little more for that. But it would be nice to still have that as an option, I think, in the long run of things. And I hope that they still do somewhat offer that in the grand scheme of things.
I mean, we say this, but currently games they're not completely on the CD, right? They need to install it and have patches, and so we're already halfway into digital, only digital. The physical thing is probably half dead right now.
I never tried it, but out of curiosity, maybe you have. Could you still? I mean, I get when there's like a game, like sorry, if there's a virus or a glitch or whatever you want to call it, that screws up the game where it's unplayable. But let's say it didn't have that. Let's say it was just a bunch of random patches to fix things up that were minor. You could still play the game without those patches, right? Like you're not forced to download them, are you?
Uh, good question. I'm not sure. I mean, I have played offline games without the day one patches,
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think
and
of.
well, it can be terrible because, well, I think back. Let's say Devil May Cry 5. The visuals are not as good looking, let's say, as with the patches and all that. There's a lot that goes into that day one patch for that game. I remember seeing a lot of weird glitches and visual stuff that wasn't quite there, like if it was half finished almost. I don't know if you could complete a game completely without that patch for that game. I've never went a full game without a patch, so I don't know.
That's true. Yeah, yeah, that's true.
And when you open your PlayStation, the update automatically starts. And I think you can start the game without the patch. It's going to ask you it needs to be patched, and you say continue without the patch, I think.
Yeah, I know that one's an
But
option.
normally it would be in your best interest because it's for bugs. It's it's super rare occasion that they would, change something for in readership and all, or anything of like that. I mean, it has happened for Devil May Cry 5, where there are some slight nudity in this game, and I remember that they passed a patch where there were these weird sort of censoring lights around these nude parts, only on
Wow,
PlayStation.
I'm surprised they
Why?
actually.
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a bit redundant because I've seen it without the little lights, and there's nothing there. It's not like
Well, I'm
if
just thinking like they have Grand Theft Auto and stuff like that. So I'm surprised PlayStation would care about Devil May Cry having a little bit of nudity.
oh, it could be PlayStation, it could be Capcom. I don't know. I don't know
That's true. Yeah, it
why.
could be the developer.
I just know it was very weird, and I don't want to see that happen again. Because I don't like anything that's related to censorship. So
Yeah,
patches
it's
like
like
that irks me.
if you're gonna like do it right, like just commit to it. Like you've already made that decision. Like I get it. Like I don't understand why they backpedal. I
And
guess
I
that
think
way.
it would have been PlayStation because it was only PlayStation. It didn't happen on PC, Xbox, or any other
Oh,
platforms.
that's so weird.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah. I guess the other thing I could say about that subject is I think they're going about it wrong though. I don't think we should have a digital code in a disc. Sorry. Oh my god,
Box.
why can't I think of the word? Thank you, thank you, Jesse. Yeah, a disc box. Like it doesn't. That to me, that doesn't make sense.
No,
It
it
is kind
doesn't.
of just like yeah, it's kind of like sparking the fire. Like you're just gonna piss people off that way.
No, it
Like
really
just
doesn't. And you know, I'm not sure why they do. Because I don't think Baldur's Gate 3, when it comes out on PlayStation, will have a physical edition. I don't think there's a box with a code or anything.
especially with social media, right? Like it's so easy just to say, "Hey, you know what? This is the direction we're going in. We're not even going to bother to make game cases." Because yeah, Marie just brought up a great point. It's wasteful as well. Totally true.
Yes. I mean, we're starting to see the shift that the PC had years and years ago. So it's just a matter of time.
And you're right. I was thinking about that too. Like some of the older games I used to play, and yeah, I think it was like up to like 5 or 6 discs I'd have to install just to get the full game.
Yeah, I think Mass Effect Andromeda even did that. A PC
Wow.
box with just the code in it.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. It's so stupid. I don't. Yeah, that part I disagree with.
Yeah,
They could have done it better. Um,
and I don't think they told people, so people were pissed.
you're like yeah, like like I don't get like you said before, like in the meeting, like hey, this is our idea how we're gonna run it. It's like oh yeah, that's a great idea. People won't get upset over
But
that.
we don't want any backlash, so don't say anything.
Yeah, let them be surprised.
Yeah, it's a surprise mechanic, EA would say.
Hey Tommy, how's it going, buddy? Um, the other one I was kind of thinking about when I wrote this topic out too, was and it's actually great that you're on this one for this conversation. So we were watching, sorry, the Dreamcast guy, right, about the Xbox situation right now, and he was giving all his points about it, right? And the one thing I guess that kept going to the back of my mind is, you know, good for you, right? Because you don't have an Xbox, but Starfield launches, okay? Like he was saying, this is their big moment, right? What would it take, like, for that game to launch for you to go like, wow, you know what? Not only do I have to buy that game, but I need to get an
No,
Xbox so I can play that game.
Starfield is kaput. It's been its thunder has been stolen by Baldur's Gate 3, for sure.
No, I get that, but I'm just saying, like, like if there was anything at all that that game could do, like, is there anything at all you'd want out of Bethesda that could possibly, like, convert you to buying Xbox to play it, or to even just buy that game day one?
I mean, I wouldn't buy an Xbox for it. I would buy it on PC to start with.
Okay.
But um, would they have to? I'm not sure. I think I would. It would need to look better because to me it looks janky and almost old gen. It doesn't look like a recent game, you know.
Because I was struggling with it too. Like when I was thinking about that
It
question, I was
looked
like,
rough to me.
yeah, but not only that, but like I feel like Bethesda's already set that bar. So I'm at the point now where it's like I don't really know what else I would want out of Bethesda RPG. Like I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's cool, it's in space, but there's nothing you're selling me on still, you know? And it's not like a shot at Bethesda. It's just like I don't. This isn't going to be the game that's going to bring like Xbox out of the grave. Like,
No, especially with Baldur's Gate 3. It's done. It's over.
yeah, no, I mean that's a solid point
Because
too.
they're
Yeah,
too close
Baldur's
to
Gate 3.
they're too close together. If one of them would have released like in January and then today or recently, it would have been fine. But they're just like a couple of weeks apart, so they're done.
Okay, and you said you got to work a little bit in the gaming field.
Sure.
I'm just curious, Jesse, because I honestly don't know the answer to this one. When it comes to these kind of launches, right? Like we're just saying right now, like they screwed up. Baldur's Gate 3's out. It did successful. Do these companies like not at all communicate? Like, are they shocked when a game launches as much as the rest of us are, or do they kind of have an idea that like, hey, this game's going to be coming out in August? Maybe I shouldn't release my game.
Oh no, they
Or-
definitely know. They usually know a
Yeah.
lot in advance. Like for example, I worked on the Mad Max video game, and it got moved several times before because it kept ending up on the same date as a major release. And in the end, it's still, no matter how many times we moved it, it kept coinciding with other games. So it got released at the same time as Metal Gear 5, the Phantom Pain.
Oh.
So
Yeah, that's rough.
and that was the least the one that seemed the more favorable of the dates. I can't remember what were the other releases, but it just one or the other it would get appeared. But I think they didn't move it because they didn't think Baldur's Gate 3 would get that much attention. That's what I think.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. I didn't expect it either to
Me
be that
neither.
big of a game.
And not only that, but Xbox probably thinks, oh, well, it's Bethesda, they'll do well. I don't think they expected that to happen.
No,
But yes,
like
they
I give you.
usually do know, and they can rearrange it if there's reason enough to do so. There are other times where management, they just don't seem to understand why it would be a problem that it releases the same day, or they overestimate how popular X franchise is compared to the other franchises.
Okay, because I know a few times, yeah, we've talked about it, right? We've said that multiple times, right? We're like, oh yeah, this game launched, but it launched at a bad time. So I was just always curious. I was like, man, are they just like picking the wrong dates here, or are they just over cocky, or what's going on?
I would say, yeah, overestimation. For example, I'm going to
Because it was
the
Horizon,
second,
right?
yeah,
Like
well,
one,
the second Horizon, I'm going to say,
yeah.
I'm going to take a guess and think they thought the player base that play software games are completely opposite to the player base that play Horizon games. So they probably thought they would be fine. They thought probably that From Software will have the usual, awards and all that. But I don't think they expected it to be this massive success of an open world that changed how people saw open worlds, right?
That's true.
So they probably thinking that it probably doesn't reach the same player base that they would be fine. But I think they underestimated Elden Ring in that estimation, probably.
And like you had a good point too. Like it comes to like a situation finally where you just got to bite the bullet. Like you're right. There's
Sometimes,
so
yeah.
many. Yeah, there's so many big games, right, that can get launched throughout the year that I mean, you really don't have a chance at certain points, at least.
Yeah, the Mad Max game was supposed to come out at the same time of the movie, but ended up not doing it because of whatever releases. And there was another
Yep.
time that it got pushed back because I don't know if it was me or somebody else, but someone found a major bug that, game-breaking bug, so they pushed it off so that it doesn't release with it. So there's a various amount of reasons why your game would be pushed back.
Tommy brought up a good question for us. He was just saying, I just thought of this. He's like, PlayStation has a handheld system. Nintendo has a handheld system. Where's Xbox's handheld?
Or are Windows phones still a thing, or?
I guess that's true, yeah. I mean, I guess just with all like the news that's been happening, Tommy. I mean, I can't speak about the past, but in the future, it's just because Xbox kind of realizes that they're losing the console battle, and they're not really focusing on that anymore. I don't foresee them doing one. I mean, the Steam Deck's doing amazing on its own, so like,
Yeah, if they
yeah,
can do better than a Steam Deck, maybe.
exactly.
But because they own the Windows property, so they could definitely do a Windows Steam Deck kind of thing.
And you think back to like when the OG Xbox came out, I mean, really Nintendo was the only one. I mean, yeah, PlayStation dabbled a bit into it. Didn't last as long as Nintendo's spree did. I don't know why. Nintendo just seems to be very, very well adapted to the handheld market.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm not much a handheld kind of person, so I don't really have anything on that.
Like, yeah, it's like a hit and miss me. Like, I definitely enjoyed Game Boy when I was younger and all that. But like even now, I got the Switch Online, right? And like the games I would like to play, like the OG Pokemon games, stuff like that, aren't available. And like the games they offer you, I was like, I don't really have any nostalgia for this. Like, I don't really have a desire to go back and play this Game Boy game.
Well, the Game Boy games were a bit hit and miss.
Yeah, right.
Like I don't remember any Game Boy games being like this amazing must-play title that I must keep forever, and that they kept having good games. It was very much half of the time it was so good, and half of the time it wasn't.
Yeah, so the only series I think that really stood out to me that I bring up every once in a while was Golden Sun. That was a pretty good one for the Game Boy.
I played those.
Yeah, but like
It was really good.
Like you said, it took a long time to get there. There was a lot of hit and misses along the way. And then yeah, like the OG Pokemon. For me, nostalgia, I like the Pokemon trading card games. That's why I got excited. But even playing that now, like I can tell, I was like, hey, it was a lot of nostalgia. It was a lot of good memories. And I kind of forgot about the long ass grind in the game, the unfair battles. The other one I'm excited to play though, because I never did, and Jimmy hyped them up a lot, was the two Zelda games they launched with, which was Season of, I think it is, yeah, it's the Seasons and Ages. There were two for the Game Boy Color. I want to say it came out for. I never tried those Zelda games, so I'm just interested to see what they're like.
My favorite ones were always A Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time, and Twilight Princess.
Yeah, Twilight Princess was really good. I was surprised how much I enjoyed that one.
Yeah, me too.
I can't remember the title of it, but funny enough, there was a Conker's game. I remember on the Game Boy too. I think it was a Game Boy Advance had it. And that one was pretty decent, but it definitely was no Conker's Bad Fur Day. It was still very innocent.
No, Conquer Bad Fur Day is they take the piss out of that game, basically. Yeah, or game of that style.
Yep. Yeah, Tommy, you're in the same breath, eh? So Pokemon, DuckTales, Metroid, yeah, but Metroid was also on Nintendo too. So, and Super
Metroid's
Mario
great.
Land. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I don't think I was trying to say, I don't think Starfield really has much to offer. I was gonna say earlier is even if they said Elder Scrolls 6, right? Like even if what's the Starfield's Elder Scrolls 6 that was coming out, I still don't think that would be enough to to get everyone converted. Like again, you brought up a good point. You could just get on PC. There really is no reason to play it just on the Xbox, which I think hurts the Xbox a lot. There really isn't anything that's just console exclusive for there.
Yep.
There's no reason to just pick up one and to buy it anymore.
Yep.
As opposed to PlayStation or Nintendo Switch.
Or a PC.
Yeah, or a PC, yeah.
Because it's Microsoft, so anything that's Xbox will be on PC, and the PC is better than the Xbox. So.
And I feel like I don't know if you feel the same way with this, but I think I know it doesn't work out this way. I understand that aspect, but it kind of feels like it. I feel like when it comes to console wars, even if you want to call it that anymore, there's always like the big three players, and the minute there happens to be a fourth player, one of the three players usually gets knocked out. So in this case, I'm gonna say it. I think the Steam Deck's definitely gonna take that market now and become the next console. And I do feel like Xbox will slowly just back away and, like you said, focus more on Game Pass, maybe PC gaming.
For
But
sure.
I
I
don't think
mean, I don't know what they'll do next, and unless they're doing more stronger Steam Decks. But that's the thing with Valve. They're so unpredictable. I find, one year they'll be churning out like Half-Life Alyx on the VR. Another year they just come out with a new handheld console out of nowhere, just like that. That no leaks, no nothing. Just yeah, we've made this. You can play basically anything on it, and it runs on Linux, and it works fine. It's just weird. They're unpredictable.
it is. Yeah, they really are, eh? Like, so no one really expected that one. Thank you, Z-Chick. Sorry, I just said it myself. I had to get my commands up. You probably did the right one. I just don't have the proper commands going. But yeah, like I think that probably by next year, if nothing happens, I think we'll start to hear Xbox making decisions. I'm gonna set it out and call it.
I don't know what they'll do, honestly. I mean, I know they're trying to, push the cloud service and all that, but I don't know. I don't know if it will work or if they'll have to branch out into something completely different.
I'll have to re-pull up the stats to look. But when I was making that last video, I did pull up a few of the stats from the Game Pass themselves. Netflix is definitely leading the market as far as streaming services go for subscriber base. But Game Pass wasn't too far behind. I don't know if they were the fourth or the.
Do Netflix stream games?
No, but just like streaming services as far as subscribers go.
Okay.
There was a few charts I was pulling up right and looking at to see comparisons. Because there wasn't a lot right for video games to compare against.
Well, sure. I mean, there's Stadia and it's dead.
Yeah, exactly, right. So I just kind of want to see like how is it competing as far as all these streaming services go in, and yeah, like Netflix was up there, but Game Pass wasn't too far behind. And then I looked at Xbox's own little reports that they released, and yeah, like I mean, Game Pass is pulling in money for them. So that's what I said. Yeah. Like again, like I mean, this could have just been Xbox. I don't know. Making it look good
because I know it's possible. I mean, it's just I would assume like Netflix that they would be losing money and not gaining it, but it's possible, I guess.
I know our podcasts are long, so I'll when I get a chance, I'll quickly fire a few of them into the lounge or whatever. I'll show you the charts that I found. But yeah, there were some interesting stats on there anyway that kind of made me go, okay, like maybe this is the direction that they'll go towards.
But are they making more money than, let's say, Sony with their way of doing it?
That's a good question. Yeah, how is it, or how is it even competing against Nintendo? Are they making more money selling their games versus having a streaming service?
Yeah.
I mean, Nintendo's freaking evil. I'm gonna say it right now. I liked the whole like two tiers they have. It was $5, you get access right to the old Nintendo games, the old Game Boy games, and Super Nintendo, and then it jumps all the way to $64, and that's when you get access to everything else.
Yeah, well, there's a bunch of stuff they do that's It's any company that lasts too long becomes evil, I think.
Totally true, right? Yeah. I even like, I was interested, like, okay, like let's see how much Skyrim is. Let's see how much like some of these other games are that I just want to see how they play on the Switch, right? And yeah, they're just so expensive still. It's like it's not even worth it. This
Yeah.
is like how old of a game already. I don't want to pay 40 or $50 for it.
Yeah, get a Steam Deck, emulate Switch on it, and you'll have Skyrim at a cheaper price with better looking visuals.
Even I was telling you about Amnesia, right? That was the $5 package there.
Yes.
I played a little bit of it. I'm gonna jump back into it again. But that was like, I guess, the first like bigger game I played on the Switch, and I was like, okay, I get it. I get what everybody's saying. This does look like dog shit. Like this is terrible. Like it felt like I don't know. I guess I never really noticed frame rates that much. Like I'm not big into that. But playing it on the Switch, I was like, wow, I really can see what everyone's talking about. Like this is a
Also, the
lot
Switch
slower.
port is not good.
No, it's really not. And like I was
Well,
just shocked. I just never, like I never, I guess, noticed that with between Xbox and PlayStation. But with the Switch, it was like, wow, there's a big difference.
no, that's too bad.
Yeah, because I was looking forward to it. I was like, okay, it seems like it'd be a kind of simple game to play on the Switch.
I mean,
But
one or
yeah,
the other. I've always thought of Amnesia more of a PC game than a console game because there's a lot of movement to do. When you open doors, let's say, you really do the movement with the mouse, or when you want to move around objects and stuff. So, but
totally. It's like
I
how they
mean,
do the door. The
yeah.
door, you have to hold down a button. I think I had to swing the joystick, and it just felt wrong. But again, like on a PC, that'd be such an easy motion to do.
Oh yeah, on P it just feels right. That's the. It's not just a. It's good. You sort of feel it in your hand while the sound is playing, and then it freaks you out.
I'm gonna look because I think because I was looking it up. I'm pretty sure I saw on Google that PlayStation or Xbox also had it listed for $5, so it might be like a developer sale. So I'll see if I can get it on another console too, just to see if there's any like. I mean, there will be a big difference, but I just want to see if I feel more
Well, I mean, if
engaged.
it's on the other consoles, the frame rate is probably going to be better.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I'm really surprised because it's an old game. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be playable on Switch.
Yeah, like I mean, like I will play it for sure if I have to. But yeah, it was the first time I ever actually like noticed a big difference like that. I was like, wow. What a difference. Yeah. But still, good deal. 3 games for $5. I'm happy. Yeah, just trying to think. I think that was most of it. Tommy, if you had anything too, buddy, you're more than welcome to chime in for it. We were just talking about physical copies versus digital copies. um, yeah, I think that was pretty much all I had to say on the physical and digital. And then Starfield, I was just curious what your opinion might be. Thank you, Cheyenne,
I
for all the
mean,
biddies.
I'm not a fan of Bethesda, so I'm not the best person to ask.
No,
But
but that's what I wanted to find out. I was like, is there something that they could offer you, right, that would make you involved in that game? Because even me, like, I do love Bethesda. I like their games, right? But yeah, like I was saying, I don't think there's anything they really could offer me that would make
they
me
need
go,
to revamp their. You need to completely change their engine to start with, to have
exactly.
something much better and more recent. They need to start over, and I always say it takes more time and money by a long shot, but it always, I think, helps the game. They should do an engine that is properly made for what they want to do with their game, like Baldur's Gate 3 did. Actually, that's what they did. They created this whole engine and tools to just tailor made to make that game. That's how as well Half-Life was made, to have the right physics based type of gameplay they wanted. They needed to redo a completely make a new engine tools in order to be able to add that and gravity gun and all those stuff. So I always think it's a lot more work, but it always serves the game in the end.
Yeah, you know what? That's solid. Because I guess I don't know why. I don't know if I just forget that Bethesda's been around that long. But when I go back and play like Doom and Quake and games like that, I kind of forget that they made those games way back
Well,
in
I
the
mean,
day.
Bethesda did not make those. That's ID Software that is owned by Bethesda, but they weren't always
Okay,
owned by them. And
okay,
I
but I'm saying like
think
they had those
Bethesda
games.
publishes it.
They had those games, right? And then you jump over to the RPG. So that was a huge change, right? From first person shooter to RPG.
Yeah,
And I guess like that's what I'm kind of looking for. Like I want to see, okay, Bethesda, you did those two elements. Now what's the next thing you're going to
it's
show us?
true. Why can't they share their skills?
Yeah, like if they had something like you just said, something completely new, something different, different engine, whatever the case is, but like just a new kind of game for us to enjoy, I think that would have sold me the ticket. I think I would have definitely bought the game then if it was some kind of new idea that they were presenting. Like I mean, I get to them, hey, we're doing space, that's different. It's like, yeah, but is it really different? Like
Well, the story just seems to be, another thing where you find the weird alien artifacts and, like the Mass Effect storyline where it brings probably visions or some sort of power skill of some kind, and then you'll have to discover what happened to the alien race. I'll need to discover that they're going probably to. They were sealed up for a reason, and they want to destroy the whole world or something.
so true.
Purge to purge the current living people and start anew or something like that. I don't know. A lot of sci-fi seems to rely on these, but I think Mass Effect, in everybody's mind has this sort of storyline.
Oh yeah, Mass Effect's already done it, right? What's the other one you guys were just talking about a while back? Outer Worlds, right? They kind of dabbled into space already.
Oh yeah, but it was nothing like that. It was more like corporation in space. It's hilarious game. I love that game.
What's that other one? Prey. Prey kind of dealt with a little bit with space, right?
Yeah, Prey was cool. A weird relationship with what are they called? The Dishonored people. The
Oh, I know. Yeah, no, that totally just left me. Thank you, Z
Arcane
Chick, for the baby.
Studios.
Arcade. Yes,
I have a
yes.
weird relationship with those games because I never liked them in terms of story, universe, or anything on that level. I'm always bored by its art style and everything. But design wise, level design, the tools they give you to do these missions and all that, I love what they do in that sense. So I need to be in this particular mood where I want to experiment in doing all sorts of stuff in order to enjoy them, but it's not always like that. Like I have a trouble immersing myself into those games for some reason.
I, I could see that. I could see that. I when I start playing Prey, I get into it a little bit and I start to enjoy it, right? But I do eventually fall off, and it's like you said, it's for that craving of like the mechanics of the game and stuff like that. There's a story in like that in Prey never really
I
like it
don't
was
think they
neat,
have very
but
good writers because it's like for
yeah,
me. It's been like that with all their games, Dishonored, uh, this.
yeah, Dishonored too.
So I mean, I didn't play Deathloop, but I'm sure it would be similar. But um, yeah, design wise and all the combat and the whole technical aspect of those games are so good. I wish they would team up with someone else to be able to make a really really compelling game. I find they have trouble keeping
That would be
keeping it
cool.
compelling.
Yeah, like a company that's really good at storytelling, eh? Hey, you
Sure,
never know, maybe Remedy. That'd
I
be kind
doubt
of
it,
cool.
especially after what was it called, Redfall.
Oh yeah, that's true. Tommy was just adding in. He's like, physical games, you own the game. That's simple. $60 or higher for digital is just ridiculous. Even
Yes.
$50 for a digital game. That's true, Tommy. There you go. Thank you so much, Tommy, for pointing that out. Um, yeah.
Yeah, it needs to be strengthened because, if you look at Skyrim, for me, it's just constantly hitting the same button repeatedly if you battle with swords, right? Or you're constantly in menus, changing spells and all that. If you look at Fallout, it's constantly the VAT system and changing in your Pip-Boy, your equipment and drinking stuff and all that. I wish they would maybe spend more time on making a different combat or encounter system of some kind.
See, I don't know if I'm
And
crazy.
and make better characters because in Starfield they look scary. It's very scary.
Yeah?
I don't know what they did with their characters in Starfield, but they look weird.
I have to look more into it. I haven't like I minus like the trailers and all that. I haven't really looked at like the character models that they have. I was gonna say I don't know if I'm crazy or not. If you feel the same way, okay. First off, I suck at platformers. I'm gonna say that right off the bat. Like I'm not good at them all. I usually don't like them, but I'm kind of curious what Bethesda would do with a platformer.
Platformer.
Yeah, like what kind of direction they would take. I'm not saying it has to be like a Mario kind of game. I'm just curious what their take on a platform game would be like. Whether they make it like an adventure style and add platforming. It's kind of like a minor.
They would probably RPG the shit out of platforming.
You think so?
So
Yeah.
you need, I don't know, the space suit that gives +3 jump with the ring of Bulbasaur, which gives +8 defense if you land on a spiked enemy or something. I'm sure they would RPG the shit out of it,
I was
and
just
then the platforming would be shit.
I was just trying to think of like something that's like a little different, like out of their element, and just how they would go about it. Because I mean, I guess
Like you jump and then you'd pass through the platform because it's a Bethesda game, so it's riddled with bugs.
that's true, eh? Yeah.
Because in an open world, you can sort of forgive it because you can walk around anywhere. But on a platform, you need to make the platform. It's part of the game.
That would be so funny. It's so frustrating though. Just falling straight through the platform.
They'd make a great these platforming game where they have a bunch of traps and just to piss you off every time you move 2 steps there's something happen.
Yeah.
They made a great game out of that because bugs would do that on its own without programming the traps.
Bethesda finally found their calling.
Yeah.
Sorry, pizza. I was curious, buddy. What's your thoughts on the digital versus physical copies?
Yeah, well, I don't really have much of a stance on it nowadays, mainly because I kind of do both. I mean, I kind of, I mean, even I am more of a PC person, so I kind of deviated away from collecting physical things. Not that I don't want to, I just, sometimes when I start playing games, I kind of went to this whole idea of if it's convenient, then I'll go and do it digitally. But like there are times where I do want to buy a game physically, especially if if I want to do it for my Xbox. I mean, then I'll definitely buy a game physically. But it has to be a game that I want to get physical. But I guess at the same time, that's just I don't mind games being physical. There's still a place for it. People still collect things like it. I don't think that, you know, erasing it or going, like kind of pushing digital out more is going to really help because, there are some people who want to collect it, or there are people who like having something that's tangible from a game because maybe sometimes I just want to look at the artwork, or I just want to I just want to see what's on the inside of the case. So yeah, for them to just to start doing physical, it wouldn't make sense, especially since if you're gonna do physical, you should probably stop doing all of these little collector's editions. You should stop selling merch for the games because at that point in
True, yeah.
time, like that's just like making a physical copy of a game. What like what makes a T-shirt and a gaming case any different?
That's a good point.
So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
No, that's a solid point, my man. And you know what? I never even thought of it that way too, because you're right. We all kind of accepted the instruction books, right, slowly being phased out. I didn't think it was slowly, actually. I just remember one day I opened up my game case. I was like, "Hey, where's the fuck's the instruction book?"
Yeah.
And yeah, we just, it just became a norm. Like, I mean, I think now you might get like a couple sheets in there, but yeah, it was nothing like it was back in the day. You had like a good like 60-page booklet usually.
Well, same thing with strategy guides. I mean, the internet
Yeah,
just wiped all of those out.
yeah, yeah. That's a shame. I wish they would at least kept the instruction books. I miss those. It was so much fun just like reading them on the car ride back to your house. Um, and then the other one we had for you, John, um, was okay. So with Starfield coming out, right? I don't know if you're on the bandwagon to play it, or if you're kind of on the fence still if you want to play it. But is there anything at all that you feel that game could offer you that would make you go like, yeah, this is a day one purchase. I need to buy this.
Mm, maybe, but I mean, it's a star. It's a like it's an outer space kind of game, which or not. I mean, it's like a space kind of game,
Yeah,
and I'm not really too big on those kind of games nowadays because it's like it's not for me. But it looks fun. Like I think that the only way they could actually get me to do day one is probably I don't know. I mean, probably nothing because I mean. It's like it's Fallout. I mean, if you like Fallout games, then it's day one, and I don't know what Bethesda could do to make you play it because I mean, if you like Fallout games or you like, well, if you like any Bethesda game, then it's gonna be a day one, and that's I can't see them changing much just because it's like if they made the game anything else, like if they try to make the game only third person game, or they try making it a puzzle game, they try making it multiplayer, I think that that would just kill that identity that Starfield has made for itself. It's like it kind of at this point, Bethesda just has to push the game out because I think that you know they they already have it. You know, how can I speak as quick as possible?
no, you're on the right
They
trail,
have
buddy.
put it in. They have put it in this spot where it's like they can't really change much now. We've seen all the gameplay, we've seen all of the developer diaries, like we've seen what they've been putting out. It's like like I mean, they've been putting out like 100% all the time on their video. So it's like, yeah, they're committed to it. So for them to change something, yeah, I don't think it'll work. I think that them pushing them selling Starfield tomorrow would make it a day one purchase.
I agree with you.
I,
I think you're right.
I
Like, if you're a Bethesda, if you're on that bandwagon, basically, you're gonna buy it. And maybe right now that's just the audience to keep catering to.
Do you guys think that it needs to succeed for Xbox, or it doesn't really matter?
I think more it needs just to succeed for Bethesda at this point. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, it's been a
I mean,
long time since we had Like, you know, like I said, we're obviously not going to get Elder Scrolls anytime soon. We're not going to get Fallout. We had Fallout 76, and that one kind of was, you know, a roller coaster ride.
Yeah, they had it was nothing. It was literally an empty game.
So it's, you know, like
The
to me,
biggest scam of gaming, I would say.
it's so true.
That is not a mobile game.
So I think they need this win. I think they really do need this to be a winner. Will it be? I don't know.
No, everybody, you know, went apeshit for Cyberpunk because it seemed unfinished. Fallout 76 was just not started. It was just an empty map with players that ran around.
Yeah,
And
literally.
it's still making money today. What a scam. I can't believe it.
Isn't it funny, eh? Like there's some of those games that could just like just bullshit
Well,
you.
it's Bethesda, so
Yeah.
that's why it had a pass, I guess. But no, everybody was angry. I'm being facetious.
No, I know, but it blows my mind because you are right. Like there are some games that just manage to just keep going, and you're just like, how? How are you still like? How did you know game A fail that was like you know perfectly polished or whatever, and game B here is still chugging along and somehow making it work?
How did Cyberpunk get more shit than Fallout 76?
Yeah, like it just I don't know, it just blows my mind how it works out that way sometimes.
Speaking of, do you guys going to get the expansion of Cyberpunk, or did you already sold your copy?
No, I still have my Cyberpunk copy sealed. I have yet to open that Xbox One and play it yet. I don't know about you.
So you'll
Pizza?
buy the expansion
You know
because you
what?
need to buy it. It's not free.
No, that's fair. I will probably play Cyberpunk, and if I actually enjoy the game, I will go ahead and I'll purchase the DLC.
Well, at least you'll have most of this stuff fixed, so
Yeah,
it'll
right.
probably
So
be better.
that's I mean, it might be a different experience for me than someone who bought it day one.
Yeah, I had it day one on PlayStation 4, so it was rough.
Are you like done with it? Do you feel like you won't get the DLC?
No, I won't. If it would have been, you know, free, you know, the reworks and everything that go, because when they first talked about Cyberpunk, they said there would be no paid DLCs, that everything would be free.
Because that's how The Witcher
Uh,
was, right? Like The Witcher, you didn't pay for any DLCs.
well, the Witcher you had to pay for expansions, but I remember they said Cyberpunk would be different and that you wouldn't pay for it.
Oh,
I might be wrong, but I think I do remember that. And so you know, they already burned me with the base game, so I'm not going to pay an extra, I don't know how much dollar, just to see if it's better, right?
no, that's totally fair. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you guys did get burned really bad when that game
Because you know,
launched.
it is good. It's just not great. It's a bit of a mess with all the mechanics it has.
But like,
And the story starts off really strong and really well, but ends up being super dumb.
I mean, I know they
So
fixed it all right, but this DLC would have been a great way to just apologize to the fans and just say, hey,
yes,
you know what?
exactly.
Here's some,
That's my point. Yeah.
yeah, here's some free content. We're sorry we fucked up in the beginning. Sorry, Pizza. What about you, buddy?
Um, I'm probably not.
Did you play
I
Cyberpunk?
haven't even touched it. I mean, I bought it. You know, like I bought the game,
Oh, okay.
and I mean, I do plan on playing it. I've been so. I mean, I've just been busy playing everything else because I mean,
Same.
I know when Cyberpunk came out, I was kind of in that. I was in that little slump where I just wasn't really playing any games because I just, I got all gamed out. Like, I mean, everything, like games were coming out left and right before and after Cyberpunk. I'm like, yeah, I don't have time. I really don't have time to play these games. So, I mean, and I've seen all the trailers. I've seen the gameplay day one. I've seen the patches. Like I'm getting a new graphics card and a new CPU probably in the next coming, couple weeks. So I might, but with my backlog, yeah, no, I'm good. By the time I get to Cyberpunk, it'll be the DLC will probably be on sale, like a deep sale. So, you know, It'll be a minute.
And it's crazy too. Like when you think about that game's launch, what was it like the Night City thing they had going on there, where they were just hyping the game up like nonstop. Like, it could have done so well. Like it could have been such a great launch, such a great game.
Oh, I think it still did well in terms of sales.
Yeah, yeah. But I just be like you're saying, like like if they didn't have that slap in the face that went when you
Well, I
start.
mean, if they didn't lie to us, sure.
Yeah, right. Like just how far that game could have actually gone. Oh, sorry, Tommy added on a few things too. He was just saying that he only does digital when it's really cheap, like Mortal Kombat 11, for example, was only $5. Yeah, I do agree, Tommy. Digital sales are just phenomenal. Like when Xbox or PlayStation or Steam has their big, summer sale or fall sale, whatever they want to call it. It's always ridiculous, just so ridiculous how cheap games go.
Yep.
And then he was asking, did all the bugs get patched for Cyberpunk on PlayStation 4? I heard PlayStation 4 was still a hot mess. I don't know. That's a good question.
I don't know. I have a PS5 now, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good question, Tommy. I'll look that one up for you and find out. Because I could
But
see.
I've tried it on PS5 as well, and it's better. But the base problems are still there, anyways. Because it's not just that it's bugging beyond recognition, but it's all the base of it, the mechanics of it, do not gel well. There's a mess in there. There's a crafting system that it doesn't really matter. You would be better to just buy your stuff. There's a crafting system that's useless, for example, or there's a bunch of stuff in the game that is in the game, and that it's obvious they wanted to do more with it, but they didn't. There's a bunch. There's a system called BD Dance or something like that, where it's something you put on your head and you relive a scene of a memory of someone or whatever, and you can find and pick up all these BD dances, but you can't do anything with it. Even so, they give you this piece of tech in the story. You find a bunch of those stuff that you should be able to put in your machine, but you do nothing with them. There's a bunch of stuff like that just it makes it an incomplete mess.
Okay, I didn't know that. I thought it was all just because of the bugs and everything in the game. I didn't know it went deeper than
Well,
that.
that too didn't help. People T-posing, or you drive and then all of a sudden the road in front of you disappear and you fall off the map.
Yeah, I heard that one.
Jumping on something that propels you out of existence. There's just a bunch of stuff. I mean, and the problem is the writing is all over the place as well. There's some awesome, really cool quests that I don't want to get into because I don't want to spoil it.
Sure.
But it goes up and down. There are quests that are really cool and others not so much, or that is not as great as other ones. And I think the best stuff are in the side content more so than the main path.
Okay, you know what then? I gotta make an effort then. I'm gonna try out the Xbox One I have. I'll try to do it within the next couple of weeks, just to see if there was, if it's worth it. Now, still to go ahead and play Cyberpunk because I am really curious. I mean, I know there are probably some
It
people.
seems to me they gave everyone a chance to write a story of some kind, because like I said, it's all over the place, the quality of some quests or storylines.
Yeah, because like you said,
It
right?
seems to me like they gave the opportunity to a bunch of people to write it and not just the writers.
Because like you said, they can fix all the bugs and everything like that, but the core mechanics that you're talking about, right? You can't fix that. Like once the game's set, with that storyline.
Pretty much.
So I kind of want to just try it out now, yeah, just to see.
And I say this, but when the expansion comes out, they're revamping the crime system completely. Police will now be able to chase you because they used to not be able to. They would come out, they would basically teleport close to you. Then you would get into a car and drive off, and you'd be fine.
Wow,
They wouldn't be able to pursue you.
that's funny. You know, when you're talking about the story, I'm curious if you have the same mindset as me on this one. Do you think it's because like The Witcher already had books, right? So there was already like a lore and all that established, where Cyberpunk was their own. Like, there's no books right on Cyberpunk or like that. Like, this is their own core story that they were making. So,
Well, there is a lore with Cyberpunk that exists because it's a tabletop game.
oh, is it
But
okay? Okay.
yeah,
So I was wondering, as
I
like,
think what happened is that they got the rights, and then the marketing team immediately announced they were working on the game even before they had anything. So I think they didn't have time to
oh, okay.
um, get everything compared to, let's say, the Witcher series, where it's a Polish. I think CD Projekt Red are Polish, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So it is a Polish, a very well-known Polish thing, and probably a national treasure because it's super popular, right? And they're probably all fan of The Witcher compared to Cyberpunk, which is an American thing. Now, I'm not saying there's no fan of them in CD Projekt Red, but it doesn't mean I don't think maybe there were as many. Maybe they weren't. I don't want to say that they didn't put effort because I think they tried the best they could in the small amount of time they were given when when the game was announced.
No,
But
I
what
get
I'm
you.
saying is that being fan of a series of books, you get all the needy, gritty details, and you have, like you say, a storyline already in place, and it's a question of what to do with all this.
You know, that's another
And
series I have to try too.
they already had Witcher 1 and 2, I think, where they did work on. So they already had an established games before they were able to get better at, to work over it as well.
Yeah, no, those are good points, Jesse. That's one series too. I wanna actually try it. I think I only played maybe an hour or 2 hours of The Witcher 2. Um, yeah,
Yeah, no, Witcher 2, I remember the story being really good.
yeah. Like, I mean, everyone was. I mean, I haven't tried 3 yet or either. I know when everyone was talking about, and I finally got my hands on Witcher 3. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna keep this in its case right now. I'm gonna try to go back to the older ones because I don't know. I felt like I should. I felt like I should play the first couple so I actually get the whole um, lore behind the main character there.
Well, apparently the first one is a nightmare.
Really? Okay.
Yep. But I don't know. I haven't played that first one.
Oh, good night, Tommy. Um, sorry, Pizza W, buddy. Did you ever get to play The Witcher?
Oh no, I haven't. I don't. I've heard about it, but I'm not really a fan of like most of those kind of fantasy, like fighting, brawling kind of game. I mean, I was not a brawling kind of game. Like I wasn't really much of a fan of Skyrim, so it's like, it looks cool. You know, it looks cool. It looks like everybody likes it, so I'm glad they do. But yeah, it's just not a game that I can see myself playing. I do have it because like the base game was free, or at least it's in my account. I didn't buy it, but it's in my GOG account.
Oh,
So I'm
nice.
like, one day I might do it, but you know, I just I just can't see myself playing it because like it's not my style. But you know, again though, it looks fun and people enjoy it. So as long as people keep as long as CDPR is like supporting Witcher 3 and also all the fans, then hey, I'm down for it.
The other
But
two things
yeah.
we were touching on that I'd like to hear your opinion on, Pizza, if you don't mind, was well, one, Marie kind of brought this up, but did you ever do any of those midnight buys? You know, like where you would wait for the midnight launch and you could buy the game. Um, both Jesse and I really don't think I did. I'm pretty sure I just bought Halo 2 the next day I laughed at all my friends that were waiting in line for it. But did you ever do any of those midnight launches?
Um, not really. I think the only one that actually like wanted to do was like for MW for Modern Warfare. That was pretty
Ooh,
much it. And that was like years ago. And that's I think like after that game, like I don't think there really were any other games that like got that kind of like hype for a midnight release, or at least if they did, then they weren't as big as Call of Duty. Because
yeah,
like
that's a good shout.
anytime somebody says that anytime someone says a midnight release, I only think about you know Call of Duty way back in 2009. Like that's the only time I can remember there being a midnight launch. So and I when I was in middle school, I think. Yeah, I think middle school by that time. So I definitely wasn't able to get it midnight. I got it next day, but I didn't get it midnight.
That's a good show, yeah, because Modern Warfare really changed the game up. Yeah, okay, that one I could see being a little bit of excitement for a midnight release. Um, and then, oh yeah, the other thing was we were asking. So the reason we were kind of focusing on Starfield there was, there's obviously been a lot of talk about Xbox and the direction that it's going in. Um, if it's not Starfield, right? Do you feel that there's anything that Xbox could do to convince people at this moment to like buy their console? Like, we're talking about like Xbox exclusive games. There's not really, many out there, right? Like, I mean, you can play most of them on PC at this point. Um, or do you think that maybe the next best direction for Xbox is to stop focusing on consoles and just focus on Game Pass and like digital games?
Mm,
Or
I
what's
have. I
your
mean,
thoughts?
I've seen they've been doing for like like just in terms of like I guess gaming and like the whole experience. And I think that Xbox is kind of in this spot where you know I don't think they need to like do. I just want to maybe I'm a casual person, so like I wasn't really let me not say that I wasn't like in this whole like thing about Xbox trying to put out more games. I mean, like most of the games I play are like they're multi-platform games, so
Yep.
I didn't really see a need for them to like push for like the whole exclusive stuff. But I mean, like they've been putting out some good games lately. I mean, they've been buying up all these developers, so I'm hoping that something comes out of it, which I'm sure it will. It's just it definitely is a case of they need someone who is going to push the games out and not just talk about it because it's like I mean it's with Sony, like it's with Sony as well, like where they'll buy publishers and then we won't hear about a game for years, at least from that publisher, sorry, from that person they bought, we'll never hear about it. Like for example, I don't know what's happening with the people who bought. I mean, like Sony bought Bungie, or yeah, I think yeah, they bought Bungie. Like, so where's the game for Bungie? I know that they're doing like I know they're doing multiple like multiplayer stuff, but where's the game from them? Sony has other publishers that are buying games from too, but I never heard of them. But I mean, but going back to Xbox though, you know, they they kind of already have this thing where it's like I mean, they have they have Microsoft money at this point, so it's like if they do or they don't, they have all this money to kind of fall back on. So I'm hoping that they can use that to their advantage and just start pushing games out. I mean, like I mean, they they don't all have to be AAA games. You know, I get that people want like everybody they're expecting the next Last of Us game every single year. Like, I mean, I don't really care about that because like the best game that came out, or at least the best game right now, is that Baldur's Gate game. That it's a RPG game. Like I
Yeah.
mean, the best game is Zelda. That's not. I mean, that's not a triple. Well, it's
Oh,
that
Zelda is triple A at
Nintendo.
this point.
Yeah, Nintendo, the people call it a AAA game. I mean, like in standards like graphics, I mean, yeah, like Tears of the Kingdom, a really, really big game all over the world. Like Xbox does not have to release a Last of Us stylized game. They don't have to release a GTA stylized game. Like they can just start pushing out, like for example, like think about all the games that they could be remastering or the games that they could be working on. Because they have Rare, they have Activision. Well, they will have them soon.
Yeah.
They have Bethesda. They can just put out different games here and there. They can be passion projects. They can be indie games that people are making. Like just put stuff out there because they have the money to do so, and I think that they should experiment with just seeing what sticks. Seeing what sticks is, I think that for the people on Twitter who are, like people on Twitter who care all this about, Xbox, and like, all the fanboys who are trying to clown Xbox, like they just want to see Xbox with some games out. I don't really care for the whole thing. I just want Xbox to use what they have. They have all this money and all these people put stuff out. Put stuff out. 'Cause, like, you're gonna have bangers. Like not every game is a banger. We've seen it with Sony. Sony released probably two games back to back that sucked. They released that All Stars game that no one played.
Oh yeah, I forgot
I
about that.
mean,
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
true.
and like they
I
released
was like
some other.
thinking, I was here thinking, like, what are you talking about? And then you mentioned the All Star thing. Oh, right, it exists.
Yeah, All Star. They released God, that game with that girl in it, that I forgot what it's called. Not the Atlas. It was some cringy game. They released that. So Xbox, they should just do whatever, like put games out. You have the money, you have the resources, just have fun with it.
I agree. I mean, Stray is a good example, right? That wasn't a AAA game. It got released. It did really well for PlayStation at least.
Oh yeah.
Um, do you think? Okay, so Pizza, let me put it this way then: if let's say they release a bunch of these like lower games, right? They're just like nice indie bangers. Should they just be Xbox exclusive, or do you still feel that they should be available on PC and Xbox?
I think that, they should be available to every platform.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I don't really care about the whole like exclusivity, whatever. I mean, it's whatever. But, I think that with the way that Xbox is, with how they interact with us as gamers, like I think that they should extend that same type of like, like the same enthusiasm to everybody. Because, you know, even if you play, I don't have PS4 anymore. I saw my PS4. I finally did it because I mean it was already ruined. I mean it's all dusty and just it moves slow, so I had to get rid of it. But you know, my brother, he loves playing indie games, and I think that if Xbox can start kind of really giving those kind of people something to really kind of scratch at, then like they got it going good.
So like
And
Hi-Fi Rush.
oh, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and I don't think that. Well, I mean, that's I don't think that. I mean, I'm not a. Xbox knows what they want to do, and if they make it exclusive, hey, that's cool. I got a PC and an Xbox, so like I'm not really biased. Well, I mean, I can't say I'm not biased, but like I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. But I just think that them being a good sport and just saying, here, here's a game that came out that it's high rush 2, and it has more missions, more levels, way more content, and they're gonna say, you know what, everybody can play it. Like, I think that would be amazing because it'll show that it'll give it'll give the indie community a game to play, and it'll help the devs get more money. Because I mean, the more people you sell it to, the more money you get. And I don't think that people, well, I don't think that people have realized that because Sackboy is on PC and it's still not selling well. and that was on PS5 first.
Sackboy?
Yeah, it's Sackboy Adventure. It's a game. It was on PS. It was on PlayStation. Well, it was a Sony exclusive
Yeah.
at first, and then it came to PC. But no one bought it on really PS4. Like, no one really cared about that much to buy it. It's a great game. It's a really great game, but no one really put effort into it. People didn't put effort into buying it. Just like with Dreams, like Dreams is dying because now it's like, it didn't get a big push with, the PS crowd. So, like making it
Well,
exclusive, I don't think that I'm not gonna say it's gonna hurt the game, but like when you open up to everyone else, you get more eyes on it, you get more support, and you get more people who say, okay, cool, I like what I'm seeing. I'm going to support the developers even more by maybe buying the game from my friends that have a different console. Maybe I'll buy the sequel, I'll buy the DLC. So, like just keeping it open will definitely give it more opportunities to shine.
Okay, so you got me thinking about something right now. Okay, you both are really smart when it comes to this kind of stuff. So maybe shed the light to me. I guess when I always think of like having a console having its own exclusives, in my mind, I guess I'm thinking like they're getting more value out of that game. But if they branch it out, let's say there's no exclusive games, right? Like you can own any system, play any game you want to. Is the company getting money still, like decent chunks of money out
oh
of it?
yeah, of course.
Are they
Of
okay?
course, they would get more. Yeah.
Like, how does that work though? Sorry, I can't seem to wrap my brain around that. So, like, PlayStation makes a game, but you can play on Xbox and PC. How is PlayStation still making a lot of money out of that game?
Well, because there's a bigger pool of people playing it, buying it. There's just much more people on it.
But you know what I mean? Like, if I buy that game, so the PlayStation made the game, but I bought it for Xbox. PlayStation is still getting a decent chunk of money out of that, like through microtransactions? That's they're making their money back, or do you know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
you
maybe
mean
I'm thinking about it weird. I don't know.
wait?
I'm like,
Okay, so I was thinking of. Okay, never mind. Let me rephrase that. If you, it depends. The company is owned by who. So
Yeah, but
let's
let's say
say
Halo launched,
Spider-Man.
right? And Halo was able, you could play it on PlayStation, you could play it on PC, you could play it on Nintendo Switch, right? How is Xbox making that money still from that Halo game with other
Because
consoles?
Xbox would own, let's say, 343 Industries. They own them.
Okay,
So if they, even though they would come out a game on the Sony platform, they would still get money from the people who bought on the Sony platform.
okay. Because that's
yeah,
that's
like,
I guess that's my
um,
mindset. I always think like it has to be exclusive for them to get the most value out of that game. I didn't, yeah, okay,
No, the exclusivity is not needed, but it is done. I mean,
okay.
of course, when you have an exclusive port, I would say it's probably easier on the devs because they only need to make sure that one port works, right? They don't one platform works, so they can concentrate all of their effort into this one build instead of making 3, 4 different build for different platforms and making
Oh,
sure they all work so that they can all release at the same time.
okay,
yeah,
okay.
and like for example, with Minecraft, well, Minecraft it got bought by Xbox,
Yeah.
and so even though you can buy it on PS4 and like PC, like Xbox, they still get money because like they get money from royalties and like things like that from people. Like royalties, I get like they get a cut of the money, even though someone else bought on PlayStation. This is owned by someone else. Contract is going to say that maybe they get 10% of each of the commission from each sale. So that's kind of how they do their whole thing. And just like with Sony doing the whole thing where they're selling their games on PC, they're selling it at a full price. I mean, yeah, they're selling at full price, but any price sell at on PC, they get a cut of that sale. So, maybe the contract might say that for every copy that Last of Us sells on PC, they might get 10%, 5% of money back from it. So that's kind of how they do that's how they get their money back, pretty much.
Okay, thanks, guys. Yeah, no, I was just because every once in a while you mention that John TV, you're like, yeah, it should just be available on everything. But I was like, but how are they gonna make their money that way?
Uh, yeah, and like I get JW's point too about like how if you focus on the game for one console, and like this, if you plan on making it multi-platform, but you want it to be good on one platform for right now, then yeah, like you might do timed exclusivity. You might just say, hey, we're gonna release it on PS5 or Xbox first, and then when it's running smooth and it's everything's worked out, then we'll look at porting it to another console, and then kind of from there. Like, I don't think that's an issue. I don't think that, but of course, I don't think that people see it that way. I think that me and JW, we can see it because I guess we're open minded to the idea of people saying it's going to be on PS5 first, so that when it's good, it can go to other consoles. Because I think that people have been conditioned to where they see the whole thing about, oh, what's on PlayStation for 1 year? Like everybody thinks, oh man, so it's exclusive forever. Like people seem to have that mentality of if it's not on Xbox right now, it's not going to be there, and then all that nonsense. So
I mean, I say it's easier for dev because I've seen it, but I mean that's not the reason the companies do exclusivity stuff. I mean, clearly it's a tactic that has worked for them, making more money, more consoles money, and all that. That's the reason, but uh, it certainly helps devs as well. So I don't think it bothers them when there's an exclusive for whatever project
mm,
compared to, let's say, the consumer. In the end, it only hurts this consumer, the exclusive stuff.
yeah. I mean, with the whole like Spider-Man thing, how I mean, I didn't really care much for Spider-Man, so I don't really. It won't hurt me, but like there are some people who probably want to play the game. And it's like, yeah, you can't play it because it's locked to a PlayStation. Okay, like it's locked to paying on PlayStation only. Which I mean, in those cases, yeah, because when you have a big IP like Spider-Man, like there are people who don't even own a PlayStation, maybe for many reasons, and you cut them off from that, then like it's like trying to sell Avengers for full price, but you don't get Spider-Man. That's like why are people doing that? Which I don't think that people should have known better. I mean, I'm not gonna blame everyone for like why they bought it, but like, come on, you knew that you weren't gonna get Spider-Man on anything but the PlayStation, yet you paid full price for the game and you're complaining about it, like, you know. But that's on the company for doing it. But sometimes some people they don't seem to understand it. They don't seem to read between the lines, or even even see the big logo that says Spider-Man only available on PlayStation. But I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked though. But I mean,
No, 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 it's a good point.
I get your point about the whole company
Well, I
thing
mean,
about how why.
I have to say though, it's pretty shit to have exclusive content of a game, to one console. Beside the Spider-Man stuff, they've done that as well for Hogwarts, where there's one special quest for Hogwarts for PlayStation players and not other platforms. It's a pretty shitty thing. It's like when companies try to patent features in a game, like the Nemesis system that is only reserved for games made by Warner Brothers. That's why you don't ever see it in any other games. Or
Mhm.
Bandai Namco that patent mini games loading, so you could play a mini game while the loading was occurring. Only those games had that. Things like that are a bit shit. There's no reasoning behind it except they think they can make, for some reason, money off of it.
Wow, you just blew
That's
my mind. I
that,
didn't
that
realize that. I didn't know that
Yep.
they patented the Nemesis system, and in the Hogwarts thing too. I had no idea there was a quest just for PlayStation.
Oh yeah,
Wow,
and I
wow.
mean Nintendo right now, just today, they've been having a lot of slack because they patent uh, a feature. I can't remember what it is. They, they try as yeah, they patent the Zelda Tears of the Kingdom mechanics, or they're trying to. It hasn't been confirmed yet.
Like the building anything mechanic, or
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
wow, wow.
oh, I mean, that's gonna be hard to do because like you got people like, I mean, you have Lego. Like Lego, that's their whole identity is you can build anything you want to.
Oh
Like,
sure, but the mechanics and coding behind it is different. I think the way that Zelda specifically are doing it is they're trying to patent it. I don't think it's building in general anything you want.
oh, okay, I see. Okay,
Well, no, you're on
I
the
mean,
right
yeah,
trail
I
though,
mean,
John, because Ratchet and Clank kind of deals with that too. They have mechanics similar to that where you can, like, I guess, build in a way, but you can like customize things in the older, or at least the older games. There was, I don't know about the newer one.
True. Yeah, no, not the
mm,
newer ones, but there are some of the older ones. Yeah, like you could build
Yeah,
stuff.
I see. Yeah, I mean, I don't really understand why Nintendo's doing because it's like, I mean, Nintendo doesn't have to do anything. Like they can make money literally selling. They could sell dirt with Zelda on it,
it's
and
true.
people, I mean, like, for example, like that picture I showed you guys on Discord with that little plush. Like, they don't need to patent anything. They can just they can sell Pokemon, and they're doing that anyways.
Yep,
So
that's so true.
it's
It's
like, I
one
mean,
word. It's greed.
yeah, yeah, that too. I'm like, I don't get that. Because like, I mean, when I say that, I don't get. I mean, that's like that's to them it's business 101. Gotta make your money, but. Like, I mean, yeah, when you're a company like Nintendo, where you literally capture every market you can. I mean, like, you have Zelda, you have Mario Kart, you have all this, you have all these different type of genres that you already have a market for. But, I guess for every company nowadays, it's just about making the most money you can, even though like these companies already have like billions of dollars. Like, I mean,
But
they have so much money.
maybe, sorry, maybe Nintendo's market is dwindling, and maybe that's why they're trying. I don't know, to
Um,
do stuff to keep it. I mean, since the Wii U, they've been, I think, having trouble. But I mean, the Switch brought it back up. But I know
Yeah,
a lot of people that don't use their Switch or don't buy Switch games because
mm,
the in terms of how powerful it is not very good compared to all the other platforms.
yeah, I mean, I've heard they're making a Switch Pro, a Switch 2, which I mean, I don't know.
yep.
I mean, like, we have seen the Switch and know what it can run. I don't think that a Switch 2 is gonna like, maybe a Switch 2, it can probably run maybe games that it can run games like Fortnite. Well, I can't say that it runs Fortnite. That's an easy game to run, but maybe it'll run a decent, like maybe if it can run GTA on low settings at like maybe 30 to like 30 FPS, then I think that that'll be a game changer. Because at that point in time, then they can actually start doing something with it. But until
But you can
then,
do that with the Steam Deck, though.
oh yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, like I tried to tell my friends about it, like they're all Nintendo heads. I'm like saying, hey, a Steam Deck, you can, I mean, you can emulate like you can play Zelda on there at 60 FPS, no problem, and it's free. But of course, they're like, I don't know. I'll rather buy the game on Switch. I'm like, I mean, you do you, man. But it's like,
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
I know. But I'm just saying, Switch came out before the Steam Deck, so before I would say, yeah, maybe Switch 2 would be a good thing. But with the Steam Deck, where any game can be run on it on the handheld or most games, Switch they need to revamp their shit because Switch 2, I don't think it will lit the world on fire. I just think it's going to be one of those, PS4 Pro type thing.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So, I mean, it really is up to them to kind of give us just something that's not going to be, oh, it's just it's more Switch. I mean, if I want more Switch, I'll get a Switch, the OLED, and I mean that'll be it. So yeah, they definitely have to come in and say, look, this hardware, like I know that it will not have the Steam Decks, that kind of system cleanup. That's more, that's very like technical, very, I guess, sort of costly for, Steam to do it anyway. So for them, they probably couldn't do it. But, they could probably say, hey, we have we have the technical power to run, I don't know, like just the most basic double A game at medium, they can, the best, the lowest they could do is, not the best, sorry, the highest they could do is maybe, I can't find a good game to use because I can't use GTA, I can't use like Last of Us, but like a game between Fortnite and GTA, a game between there, they can run the game at medium 30 FPS just fine. Like if that is their highest like um thing, their level, then it might turn some heads. But until then, yeah, it's just I didn't buy a Switch because of the fact that, well, I don't really play Nintendo games, but the fact that, like, I can't play Doom at, like, anything higher than medium. You really can't play Witcher higher than medium. You can't play a game like, I'm sorry, I keep saying GTA. I need to find a game to use other than GTA. I need
No,
some
no, it's
ideas,
okay. I
Michael,
was
or
actually looking up,
JW. I
John.
can't find any game that works that can prove my point on making it a better Switch.
Yeah, no, I was telling JW earlier. I downloaded Amnesia, right, because he was talking about it, and like I said, it's the first time like ever I've noticed like huge difference in like frame rates and graphics and all that. Like it looked like a hot mess that I was playing. But I was just quickly taking a peek to see what else the Switch was gonna port, and like Mortal Kombat One's gonna be on the Switch. What's another one here they listed? Metal Gear 1 is gonna be coming out for the Switch. Like there's a lot of like
Sorry.
decently big games that they're taking, and yeah, just it'll be interesting to see how that actually plays out on the Switch itself. To me, I think Nintendo never should have did that. I think they should have just stuck with their own games. I don't know why they decided all out of the blue to branch out
Well,
and take
because
all
they
these
don't
ports.
have any games. I don't know if you've noticed, but their first parties have been trickling down extremely slow.
Oh, yeah, I mean, and I know that I keep harping on it before, but like they have all these properties where they could just release a sequel to these
Exactly,
games. But
exactly.
it's like every time I mention that, people always say, like, well, sorry, people agree with it. People agree with this all the time. Like, when you go to the Discord from Nintendo, somebody says, "Why aren't they releasing another Donkey Kong game?" Everyone's saying, "Yeah, we know
Yeah.
they should do this. They should." I'm like, I guess everybody wants them to do that because, like you own a property, like you can at least do something with the game, and then
New Clay Fighters game, like anything, like yeah.
yeah, make a remaster for a game, make a sequel to it. Like they have the power to make these games, and they have the demand for it. But it's just like with Sony, where people want Metal Gear Solid 4. They want that game the most, and Sony is not giving us that. People are saying that it might come out in the next collection, but I don't know. Because if it wasn't coming out for the first one, and the first collection has all the mainline games except Metal Gear Solid 4, then like I don't think it's gonna be a second one. I think that people are getting their hopes up again because Sony just does not seem to want to give us those PS3 titles for some reason.
Like I mean that's I hate when people say like Nintendo doesn't have like not you Gino, but I mean like usually people have that argument, right? They always say, oh, Nintendo doesn't have anything, right? And it's like, man, they have so many games. If you actually looked at the old N64 library, there is so much they could choose from. Like you said, either to remaster or add on to. It's just I don't know. Like to me, it's laziness. Like it's like just fucking bring back some of those titles. Like you have so many gems out there that you could be work. I'm sure the GameCube also had lots. But yeah, it's like you're right. They always focus on Mario and um, Pokemon, whatever the case is, and like
Well,
they totally forget about all those other ones that they had in their back burner
well, they're
back in the
probably
day.
more popular though.
True, yeah, no, it's true. But I mean, you're right. Like you do need variety, so
Oh, I
sometimes you have to
agree.
break.
I'm just saying they're probably basing it off on numbers, right? Oh,
Oh yeah,
Donkey
yeah,
Kong, yeah, we know there's a loud, let's say, fan base for it, but maybe the last couple of Donkey Kongs, people didn't really butt them unless Mario was in it. So we're not doing another Donkey Kong, but we'll be doing another Mario where it features Donkey Kong at some point in the game.
that's true. Yeah,
Mm,
honestly, the last Donkey Kong game I can think of was the one with the bongos on the GameCube. I can't even think of a Donkey Kong game I played since then.
yeah. And I mean, like if that's the case, then I'm cool with them doing that. But this is at that point, then if people are saying that Nintendo makes money selling Mario games, then give us more Mario games, because like if people are buying it, then they can milk it for all they want to. I mean, even though
True.
I have seen, we've seen all the we've seen Odyssey, we've seen the Super Mario, whatever. We have Mario Kart, we have Mario Land, we have Mario, like we have all these Mario games, but
Mario Golf, Mario Tennis. Just
yeah,
kidding.
like and
Oh yeah, there's a Mario for everything.
Oh yeah, definitely, exactly. So like, if people are still buying it, then I get that. Then like, if you want to do cameos all day, every day, then yes, do it. But then it's like at that point, Nintendo, then keep doing it. Stop trying to stagnate yourself when you have a cash cow. You have Zelda and you have Mario, kind of just going head to head. I mean, you really could just make a Zelda versus Mario type game, whatever crossover. I mean, like
Oh
and like
God.
that would be they would make so much money doing that. 'Cause, it's like I mean, if everyone
Yeah.
if we're all playing Tears of the Kingdom, you could make in fact you can make a Mario game that has Zelda's kind of mechanics and layouts, and there you go. You can have something different, but you know yeah, I get JW's point though. Nintendo has been kind of slowing down on their releases, and I'm guessing they're trying to do the whole Sony thing where it's like, oh hey, we released Last of Us, so you'll be okay for the next 2 years. Like I think that's what they're trying to do, and Nintendo isn't at that point where they can do that because like they they definitely have this thing where when you beat the game, it's like they'll keep playing, but like they want more. People want more Nintendo because unless you're someone who wants to play the game from back and forth, get all the secrets, all the achievements. If you're a casual gamer, you might say, okay, cool, I'm done with Mario Odyssey. What's the next game?
Or even like I made this point before. Nintendo really needs to focus on its players as well. Like I know it's so minor, and yeah, maybe it won't change it for a good chunk of people, but it might give that bonus to a few. Is like add Nintendo achievements, add Nintendo trophies, add something Nintendo. Give us a reason to go back to that level and play that particular part a certain way just to get that whatever it be Nintendo coin, like whatever kind of term or phrase they want to use that and just making it easier to stream off the Nintendo. I think just two little minor things like that would probably get a little more engagement out of those games that they already have out.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. No, I mean the players come first. And I mean we have seen it with Xbox. We have seen how Xbox has been trying to be more consumer friendly. Like trying to give people
Yep.
more options. Like for example, like they're finally selling replacement parts for the controller. Like that's a big thing because I'm big on right to repair. I'm big on giving people the ability to fix their own things without having to call a manufacturer, having to call someone else, and then being told, hey, you can't fix this without our permission. Like like I'm big on giving us the freedom to do what we want to do with our products. So Xbox saying, hey, you guys can now buy official pieces for your controller from us. That's a big win. Like I want more people to kind of do, I want Sony to say, hey, if you want to get your controller fixed, you can now buy replacement parts from us. And, you're going to have, it'll be all in-house, it'll be all authentic pieces. And, that way, if your motor goes out, you can buy a motor made from us that's quality and not some third-party one that might catch on fire, that might die on you midway. So, like seeing Xbox say, "Hey, we're gonna be gamers first, and then games second," we're seeing that we've been seeing that for a while now, and it's just kind of becoming the norm for Xbox, and that's kind of why I'm not harping on the whole gaming thing for them because I want someone to be gamer first at some point, or at least I want them to be like giving control to gamers in terms of have giving them the tools they need to really make the experience better.
I mean,
I agree.
I wouldn't go as far as saying Xbox puts gamers first. I think they're just better at bullshitting than Sony.
Oh yeah, I mean yeah, like, and if that's the case, and they're doing a good job, I mean, hey, they won me over because, like if there's one thing I like doing with my controller, like I have five different controllers for Xbox, like they're all different skins and things like that. Like I just like building stuff and like customizing my gear. So when you tell me that hey, we can buy stuff and like really tinker it and work on it, that's pretty cool. I find
Sure,
that
yeah, yeah.
awesome, and so but of course that's just me though. I like hardware. I like looking at hardware. I like looking at things and just seeing how it all works out. So I find that as a big win. And when they did that, I said, okay, Xbox, I respect you a lot more for doing that. But of course, there are some people who want to see the games, and I get you. I get those people too, because I mean, we have seen the showcases where, like they gave us nothing but apps. They gave us
Yeah.
nothing but oh, we can have Cortana on your Xbox. Like, yeah, I get that. I get that completely. So I do want to see games. I want to see them do it all, and maybe they will soon. If they do it, if they start putting out all kinds of games, and I mean, I'm here. I'll be here. Well, I mean, we'll all be here, really. So, definitely. But yeah, that's, I want it to be gamers first, and then, well, I'm sorry, I mean, I appreciate a company doing gamers first and then games second, whether it's BS or not, you know, having someone do something about it, then, I'll be okay with it.
Sure.
You know what, pizza? Thanks. That's gonna be a good topic. I think I'll use that for next week. Just little like quirks or ideas that companies, video game companies, have launched that they thought would win over the audience. That's because when you mentioned that, I was like, man, yeah, Xbox has a lot of funny ones that they did in the past, especially for the Xbox One.
Hell yeah.
So that'd be a good topic for
Well, I
next
mean,
time.
Connect.
Exactly.
Oh yeah,
Exactly. I feel like we'll have some pretty good laughs out of that one.
oh yeah, I mean, like for example, and like you also have you have PSVR, which I mean, like that's, even though it is a quote unquote gimmick, it's a really good gimmick. I mean, like with I do plan on getting a PS5 only for VR because I've heard nothing but good things about the headset and the experiences. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna get that. I'll down the $1,000 or hopefully maybe less than that because I've been seeing the PS5 on sale lately, so hope I can
True,
snag
yeah, it's been a
one.
while.
Yeah, if I can get one for like maybe, and I saw one on Best Buy, Best Buy for like almost $3.99. I'm like, that's not a bad deal. Maybe I'll get one, and then I can snag a little PSVR thing on eBay, and boom.
Yeah, so that's a pretty decent deal actually. Um, Okay, so I'll give you guys a few minutes to think about this, just for the end of the recap for the podcast. Thank you guys though for staying on for so long. I appreciate it. So my question to the both of you guys, and again, give you a little bit to think about it. But if you could, like, I'm pretty sure I know what yours is gonna be, Jesse, but still, I'd love to hear your passion behind it. If you could pick any company you want, any video game company, any video game developer, any particular series, whatever the case is, what would be your dream job to do in that company or that game series or whatever it is? And just kind of, like explain it. So like example, let's just say, oh, I love Sega and I would love to be the CEO of Sega because I think I could take the direction into a completely different path, and X, Y, and Z is how I would do that, right? So if there's something you guys, or maybe it's just something basic, like you just want to be a game developer for that company or a writer, whatever it is, just something that you feel passionate about. And
Oh, I
while you guys
mean,
are,
mine is
sorry,
easy.
yeah, okay, if you got yours, Jesse, you shout it out, buddy.
Yeah, I would totally write for games. I almost did, and I sort of partly did on a project, and so I would write for games. That was cool, and or I would do game design.
I am curious, would it be Remedy? Would that be the one you'd go to? But like let's say you had options for anywhere. Would it just be Remedy you'd still pick?
Um, well, Remedy certainly has my favorite writing wise ones. So that is one. Um, I would have loved to help write for a Deus Ex game or
Ooh,
Tomb
okay.
Raider actually. So Eidos,
Tomb
but I've
Raider.
worked on Eidos and I don't want to go back. So
Okay,
um,
I'm curious. What would you do with Tomb Raider? Like, do you have an idea?
no, for sure it's easy.
Yeah.
Oh, really? It's easy. It's an adventure type of thing, you know. So you just have a MacGuffin of a kind, an item, whatever, make it the
like,
central piece. Well, I say this. That's what they always do. Actually, there's a lot you could do with it.
would you keep like that core character, like Laura Croft and all that, or would you like really branch out and just change Tomb Raider altogether?
Oh no. I want to keep Lara Croft. I want to bring
Okay.
back the action hero Lara Croft, not the whiny, super serious one that came with the remake. No, I want the dual pistol Lara Croft where she
Okay.
has the money to get and do whatever she wants, and snarky, she's fun, she's whatever, and all she wants to do is essentially find treasures, right? Or do all that. So there's multiple ways you could go. I think you could do. You could do a thing where it's you try to do some open world type of thing where you hunt treasures and you do puzzles, you find the actual really cool treasures, but I don't mean like they did in the latest ones. I mean
Yeah,
in the sense of more like
the older
how.
ones, right?
Oh, sorry.
Like the older ones you're talking about, right? Like 1, 2, and 3.
No, no, no. What you could do is it's because the older the early, not the early ones, I mean the most recent ones, they kind of do have like a bunch of treasures hidden in these closed sort of open areas, but
Oh,
it's more
okay.
like you do a puzzle and then here it is, you have the item, and that's it, that's all. But instead I would probably do, you make multiple big stories and or quests, like when RPGs like Witcher or Cyberpunk or whatever makes these big amazing secondary quests. So you put that same amount of attention in detail, but into finding that one treasure, let's say, and have very big sprawling open world map instead of a closed off level. So that would be one way. Another way of doing it is to do the usual more of the Uncharted type of thing where it's more linear and you have a story and all that. That would be the two ways I would see it do it.
Not obviously, I praise your writing quite a bit, and not to boost your ego up even more. But the minute you said Tomb Raider, my face just got a huge smile on it because now I got to get to know you a little bit, and I got to see your writing style. I definitely think, Jesse, yeah, you could make a very interesting and exciting Tomb Raider game, story wise.
Well, like
Yeah,
I
I
say,
think,
I find adventure stuff
yeah, like I
easy
think
to
that's
do
right up your alley.
because it's you just need to put a bit of mystery and have a bit of a humor here and there in the right moments, not too deflated,
Yeah.
dramatic ones, and you have yourself a thing, and then you repeat it but with something else, right?
Yeah, like I said, I would pay money to see that. That'd be kind of cool to see you write a Tomb Raider adventure.
Yeah, I also miss adventure stories in general. We don't really have them anymore.
It's true, yeah. There hasn't really been too many that's come out during these new console launches.
Well, not just console launches. I mean, in general, just even in movies, we don't really have good adventure movies. I mean, I know Indiana Jones came out not so long ago that did terribly. I know there was Uncharted
Yeah,
that came out that did terribly as well. We don't have good adventure movies anymore.
yeah. I
And
didn't even watch the
I have
newer
a
ones.
theory on this, and I think it's because we're now in a world where we know most of the planet, or we think we do, and representing a certain kind of culture will insult everybody for all the right and the wrong reasons. So you can't do adventure movies like that anymore. But the way to sort of cure that is you either do an adventure movie in a fantasy world or in a sci-fi world, and you can basically do any culture and or mystery you want. So you could still do it.
I never even thought of it that way. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, a lot of people probably would get offended nowadays.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, yeah, because you're right. I was thinking, I was like, yeah, the old Indiana Jones movies were so good, and yeah,
Yeah, try making the what is it called? The
but the Temple of Doom, I think
yeah,
that was
Temple
one.
of
Yeah,
Doom today would never pass.
so true.
It's all monkey brain eating and I don't know whatnot.
Only thing I always remember with that movie is when the guy like digs his fingers into the other guy's chest and pulls out his heart.
Oh yeah, that too. It's still my favorite
So
Indiana Jones to be
oh, it's
honest,
so good,
actually.
right? Yeah, I love that one.
Everybody likes what is it, the not the either the Last Crusade or the one before that, the what is it called?
Yeah,
I'm
I'm drawing a
blanking on
blank.
it.
I do
The
agree. Yeah, Last Crusade gets a lot of praise.
Well, it's because it's the same thing as the first one, but with better budget, bigger, and all that.
Yeah, yeah. No, I grew
But
up on Temple of Doom. I love that one.
well, Temple of Doom has always been more mysterious, horror, while at the same time having adventure, drama, comedy. It was just a bunch of everything. And all the other Indiana Jones were about, killing Nazis, basically.
Yeah, so true.
Which I'm not against. I'm all for it. It's just when you reach the third one, it's like Nazis again.
Exactly, right? It's kind of
Raiders of the
redundant.
Lost Ark. That's the first one.
Oh yeah, yeah, Raiders. Yeah, I know. It's kind of like video games and zombies at this point. Like, yeah, okay, we've experienced it. Let's move on.
Yeah. At the
What
same
about
time,
you?
I mean, Nazis are easy villain to go against without giving too much of a reason. It's self-explanatory. So
It's true. It's a safe zone.
Yeah, well, you don't need to justify it really.
What about you, Pizza? What would be your dream job, buddy?
I would probably, if I had to choose one, I would probably be. Okay, that's a tough one because I want to be kind of just do. I really want to be the person who. Man, that's a good question actually. Hmm.
There's a lot of
I would.
choices out there, right?
Yeah, so many of them, and like really, what I would do is I would be the. I'd be a beta tester. I think yeah, I'll probably be a tester for these games, and
Ooh, okay.
kind of see what's going on. Because like I don't know how these games are coming out, and they're all buggy first day. Like I mean, there are so many games that like, and it's I don't know if it's because I mean, I know it's because of publishers. I get that, but it's like surely that these people they're seeing. I don't think that people are seeing the games, and so I think that if I was a beta tester, I would, like I carry, like I would carry around a little air horn, and anytime the game sucks, I will blow the horn in front of the people who are so like people like the publishers, I will blow the horn to publishers and say, time out. Here's how the game looks. The game is not good. We need to delay it. And every time they keep saying something, I keep blowing the horn. That way they can't get their point across because
That's awesome.
their point is never a good one.
I think you'll get fired on the first day.
Oh, that's okay. And then at least when they go to bed, they'll remember the air horn. They'll wake up. They'll have nightmares of like, what?
PTSD.
You're right. This game must be good because if not, like imagine if every gamer. Well, I guess at that point, they put, people who their job. Like if every gamer had an air horn, and the game sucked. Like they would say, "Hey, look, guys, here I'm gonna blow this in your face because again, the game came out and it sucks." Like I don't know. I don't get it. I keep telling it. I get why they pushing it out, but it's like, come on, like if the game sucks, like we have seen companies pretty much fizzle out because the game they released was terrible. I mean, look at Crystal Dynamics, like with Avengers, like that game was so bad that they had to pretty much kind of fold. I mean, and like the game Forspoken, that game was so bad the company had to kind of fold into someone else. So like like they don't seem to understand that if the game sucks and no one buys it, guess what? The company goes bye bye. The devs may not have a tomorrow. Yeah, so if I was a beta tester, I would do that and get attention because you know if if I get fired the next day, so be it. I'll buy more air horns and I'll keep blowing in people's faces until they see like they understand that if a game sucks, it's because it's rushed out. It's because you're not giving people you're not giving people a chance to give us the best they can. Because like that's what I would do.
Well, I could tell you exactly how it's done, because I've worked as a QA tester in the game industry, and I can tell you you'd get fired the first day, because QA is not there to tell if the game is sucks or not. They're there to find the bugs and enter it in the database. Now, you would think it would mean enter the bugs and follow through and tell the devs, well, you need to fix this. But no, it's just to enter it, and then management will decide what is the most pressing to prioritize first. And if they feel like they're getting too close to the date, or that they won't have time to fix it, they'll just say put it in a day one patch, put it in X amount patch when it releases, which is why. Because I just think they mismanage. And
Yeah. I'm like that is the biggest story of gaming's life is the game has been mismanaged
yep.
and it came out in a bad state. And I'm like, and I don't know, maybe I have to be in the position of a CEO or like a stakeholder to understand this. Because like I think that all the game, we all know about this whole thing about stockholders. They gotta get their money. I get that. That's business. You got to get paid because rent's due on the first. that I get that, but it's like when people start messing up and you start seeing these cracks and it starts showing, like the last person who I want to see get hurt is the devs, but they're the first ones getting hit, like they're getting hit from the front and the back.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
And the thing is that when it's mismanaged, they don't take responsibility. They blame it on whatever reason. Like when, what game was it? I think it was Battlefield, the latest Battlefield that was riddled
Oh,
with problems.
2042, yeah.
Where EA said to their shareholders, "Oh, it's because it came out close to Halo, so that's why it didn't do good." When they're like not at all the same player base or game.
So true.
But I don't know if shareholders know this, right?
yeah, and yeah, yeah, like I don't think they do at all. I think it's just like the shareholders, all they know is this: they put money into the company and they expect something out of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, and like, sure, like I get it, you made the company with your money, you deserve something back from it. That's how investing works. But I think that, they, if they see the human side of things, it would be so much different because, I mean, like for example, with Crunch, I mean, like, if people saw how Naughty Dog was treating their people, how EA was doing it, or Blizzard, like, I mean, if people started seeing the inside, then it would be a completely different story. But people don't want to see the inside of it,
Oh
and
yeah, for sure. They hear about it, but they don't really grasp the concept until someone works there.
oh yeah,
And it's like I was saying to someone today. The thing is, they often grab these people young when they just come out of whatever school or whatever. They don't have much working experience in a job, so they are quickly, shown that this is how you work. This is how it should be done, basically, because it's their first couple of work experience, let's say. And so they probably feel powerless, of doing anything. They probably think, oh, this is working. There's a bunch of this whole thing where it puts down people, this industry, but they think, oh, I'm working on this big project game. It's the sacrifice of making art. There's also that part. There's a bunch of factors which makes it, even though people are mistreated, they keep coming back.
Yeah, kind of like how
yeah,
the
it's
Super
probably
Show
like,
touched on it before. I know they were saying how they were making you feel like you had to do overtime. We're not forcing you
Yeah.
to, but like the best workers are the ones that are working overtime. It's like, okay, well,
Oh,
I
it's
don't.
more than that. Like if everybody's doing overtime, you're like, well, no, I have a life, and then they'll make you feel the day after and in the coming future and all that. They'll make you feel stupid, weak, or whatever for not
Yeah,
staying, for not whatever. They don't realize that employees are the ones that have the power, not the employer.
exactly. Yeah,
It, they don't understand, the self-respect in that you must have of yourself when you're in a job, and that it's a business. Even though yes, it deals with art, it's still a business, and that you should have your fair share as well. But there's a bunch of stuff. It's quite different also when you're part of a third party company, meaning the company pays another company, let's say a QA company, to give external testing. So often they pay cheaper. They get cheap. It's basically cheap workers, because the workers on a third party, they are not only cheaply paid, but their conditions are horrible, and they pay for that. They continue this cycle, and And also, they dangle you with this carrot of saying, oh, if you stay long enough, you'll be able to be part of our company and you'll be much better treated, paid, and blah, 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 and all that. Which, most of the time it isn't true.
Yeah.
Or it's going to take 3 years before it happens, or,
Yeah,
stuff like that.
it's crazy to think that like happens in, like video games. Like I mean, obviously you think about a lot of other companies like assembly line work and all that, but yeah, it's just I don't know. It really blew my mind. There's a lot of documentaries I still want to watch about that kind of stuff, but yeah, just a little.
And there's not enough thing I can say to describe exactly the feeling down there. But yeah, just that. I mean, because even though if I explain it, people will say, "Oh yeah, we get it," but you don't truly get it until you live through it, really.
Very true.
And then later, when you get a better job in a better placement, better industry, better everything, and then you look back, that's when you realize how much they're really taking advantage of you. Because when you're in it, you don't see it.
Yep. I agree. It shocks you, eh? Like it really shocks you to the core when you think like, wow, I actually put up with that shit. Like why?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're right.
I mean,
how do you say it? Like, if a boss is good at their job, they will. Like, there's a difference obviously between a boss and a leader, right? But if a boss is good at their job, they will manipulate you to believe that this is the end all be all, and you work your ass off because this is your one and only chance. But the reality is, like you said, it isn't true. There's going to be better jobs out there. There's going to be jobs that are going to treat you 20 times better than that previous one did. But if they're good with manipulation, they'll, like you said, they'll dangle a carrot in front of you. They'll find a way to convince you that this is the end all be all.
I've seen people work so much that they didn't sleep to a point where they would work standing up to make sure that they wouldn't fall asleep in their chair because they would be working so much. It's really ridiculous, the extent. And they do when you say they do overtime, it's not just of a couple of days a week or whatever. In video game industry terms, it's many months. For some it can even be years. Like, it's insane.
Yeah. Sorry, Pizza, you were gonna add on to that one.
I mean, what Jesse said was right. I mean, like if people don't see what's happening, then it's like, they're gonna, they will, as gamers, all we see is just the end product.
Yep.
Like when people talk about a toxic work environment, like I think when it started becoming a thing, like a more like thing to talk about more often than like, oh sorry, before that, when people say, oh, I work all these hours and I'm tired, people that thought, okay, yeah, but you made this amazing game, and then that was it, and then I'm sure you guys heard this guy called Jason Schreier on Twitter, like
Yep.
when he started coming out with these exposés and these articles talking about how people are literally working themselves to death over in China, over here. People are getting abused at work. They're getting mistreated. Like I think that started really putting a fire on people to say, hey, you guys need to stop doing this. You guys gotta start pushing for better treatment. And it kind of shed light on what's happening behind closed doors. And I mean, at least for us as as the common gamers, we now know what's happening on the inside. But now, it's like we have people who don't care about Twitter. We have people who care about the money. Like they don't have social media at all installed, so they don't know what's happening. They're probably somewhere out of the country on the little yacht fishing.
Well,
And like
the
all they want to
problem is
know is where my money, where is the money at, and then of course, maybe the managers do know, maybe someone at the company, they know what's happening, but they also know that, hey, if I tell my investor that, the game's not ready yet, they might pull money out. So it's like, but of course, I mean, that's any manager worth their dignity would say, "Hey, look, guys, our people are tired. They're, well, they would say it in the most business way, saying, "Hey, our guys, it's going along great. Some people just need some time to relax, things like that. If a manager did that and somehow he kept his job, I think that people will start saying, okay, so then maybe we can start telling the truth. But of course, any manager worth the dignity and worth the honesty would do that, which I'm not sure how many people would do that. Like if someone said, hey, you can be honest with them, I'm not sure who would say, yeah, you're right, man. Our team's frazzled. They've been working almost 100 hours a week. They've been so tired that they can't do anything. Like, I would definitely support the develop. I would buy the game to support the bit. That was definitely, if someone came out and said, we are going to work our people less, we're going to give them more time to do what they need to do, and then when the game is ready, it's ready. Like for example, Baldur's Gate, like that was a game that took years to make. And people, they were not working hard, they were not doing too much work, they were doing what they needed to do in the time they had, and everybody, everyone came together as a team, and now they have this game that's now, I saw on some, I think on IGN, I think, how Baldur's Gate is now the most highly rated game of Metacritic. Like, and that's a game that took years to make, but because it came out in a very good state, and the people working on it, like, they're not people who have been abused or like dragged around. They have a game that has all these features in it, and it feels complete. And I think that people are saying, yeah, like, people are saying this is what we want to see from day one. We want to see a game that is ready to go, made by people who are not feeling like they want to jump out the window.
Yeah,
Well, the problem is that consumers shouldn't be the one to police these situations. This is something that should be arranged inside the company itself. I'm not usually for necessarily unions because I find they tend to get in the way anything minor happens. But in the case of video game industry, I think unionization would be important and would help them because they keep getting
they need a voice.
uh, yeah, even exactly, even though everybody knows that it still hasn't changed a thing, they need a voice, they need someone to do that. And the problem is every time a company gets wind of it, they fire these people, right?
Yeah,
Before it becomes something. Uh, this needs to be arranged. Someone needs to get smart in there. The devs need to do something. It shouldn't be up to the consumer to, research the company before they buy a game.
yeah, because just like I mean, like any issue, right? Like it's gonna have a wildfire grow, but it's gonna burn out. And like you're absolutely correct, JW. Eventually, the people that started the wildfire will be let go, terminated, whatever the case is, and the company will just slowly continue the same practices, and the cycle will continue.
It's like all those movies and shows, people that say, oh, you can't watch this because whatever X reason,
Yeah,
so you need to cancel every viewing of blah blah blah. It's really impossible to do because there's just so many of it. If you take, for example, Harvey Weinstein, his name is on most movies.
yeah.
His company produced so many movies. You can't cancel all these movies. There's just too many of them, and
Well,
it shouldn't be to the consumer to do that. Internally, they should have something to prevent all these abusing situations, right?
exactly. I mean, we all have our own policies and procedures, and I know, for example, like most retail companies I work with, they always have the "We Care About You" package, which covers sexual harassment and violence in the workplace and all that. So you're right. Like, if you're going to take the time to make that policy, then enforce that policy as well.
Oh yeah, not definitely, and I mean, yeah, you're right, Jesse and Michael. It has to be internally. I guess, because we as gamers, all we can do is just say, let's vote with our wallet. If we know the game's not if we know the people are getting abused over there, don't buy the game. I mean, 'cause, and I have heard, I heard people saying, like buy the game and screw the developers, and I get that, but of course, they're getting paid anyways. Doing a, they've been getting paid all year, so like they have money coming in, and I think that us not buying the game, it should be viewed as a wake up call to the people in upper management saying, look, we know what's happening. So until you fix it, we're not going to buy your games. And then of course, that should be a warning to say, hey, look, now try and tell your investors that they'll have their money tomorrow when you have nothing coming in. That is what this whole protest should be about, not just about, I mean, of course, it should be about, helping out the developers for sure. And it should also be about sending a warning to anyone who wants to try and do it again, to where if you try it again, we're going to keep pushing for not buying your products. We're going to keep pushing for protesting your products and saying this company is doing all this stuff. And until you learn your lesson, we're going to keep doing that. That's what, in a perfect world, that's what we should be doing outside. And then internally, there should be, like people should be getting smart over there. People should be saying, you know what, even though I'm a manager, even though I run the company, you guys need days off. You guys need rest. You guys need mental recuperation. And then, see how things turn around. Because, I mean, I know for a fact that if the people who made Diablo 4, or no, the people who made, well, I guess, yeah, Diablo 4, like, all that kind of stuff, if Blizzard gave their developers time off, they gave them, holiday pay, let's say, hey, look, Christmas time, nobody works, you all go home, then when you come back on whatever day, then, it's back to work. And that's, like, if you do that, something that, the game is already good, like, people are playing Devil 4, it's a great game anyways. So, I guess my question to the people who are in charge, what what would be the penalty? Oh, sorry, sorry. What difference would it make if you guys took a week or 2 weeks off? If you know the game is good, it's going to come out great. Why not take the time off? And it was like that is without you guys having to answer the investors. You guys are a private company, no investors. It's all you guys. It's just you and developers. If the game's coming out well, why would you guys not take a break? you know, delay the release by a week or two, take some time off, come back, release it. It's a great game, and you have happy developers, you have happy management, you have happy gamers. Like and I think that in a perfect world, if everyone saw everything, there would be a lot more change, and hopefully, as time goes on, and we get more people who are younger than us really kind of looking at the inside and saying, yeah, I hate that. Maybe then we'll start seeing change. Little by little, not too much, but little by little, we'll start seeing people on the inside saying, yeah, you know what, I'm kind of done. I'm kind of done with this. I'm gonna head out.
Well, I mean, like I mentioned earlier, though, is that other industries in tech where these job skills can be used have much better conditions and pay from, like, by far at least triple of what is done in the game industry. And so people just have a tendency of, when they know they can do so much better just not working in games, they will tend to gravitate towards that.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. And if that's and I'm okay with that. If at the end of the day you are a better person for leaving that job and getting a better mental health, getting better sleep, getting better, just being a better you. I support it. Because I mean, I'm a gamer at the end of the day. I just play games. But if the people making the game are not happy, like I don't want to buy a game and the person who made it is suffering on the inside. I would much rather you just ditch the game altogether or have someone else work on it. And if you want to leave out and just find something that's going to work for you so that way you just have a better life. Like I mean, like it's to me it's just a game. you know, it's just a game. I just it's something that I turn on when I'm bored. But like like people have committed the S word in these studios. So I'm like, yeah, why would I want to keep buying a game when people are literally, kind of just being, in that kind of situation? But I mean, I don't know. I'm more of an ethical kind of person. I mean, I'm sure that there are some gamers who say it's a game, dude. Like, who cares? Just buy the game and be quiet. I mean, we see it on Twitter. They're all on Twitter on Reddit saying just buy the game. But I would feel bad buying a game knowing that people are being in that situation.
I think that's a good idea. I think a lot of people just have that bad mindset nowadays, right? Like you just said, like, let it go. It's just blah blah blah. It's like, no, no, it's not.
Well, I mean, it's because, like I was saying earlier,
Yeah.
there's been so much of this. Oh, don't play this. Don't watch this. Don't blah blah. Cancel this, cancel that. People are just sick of hearing it now. They just go like, fuck off. I'll watch whatever I want. Which, fair enough. It's your choice. But it's just people that have abused of that power for so much that it just annoys people now. And
Yeah.
if anything, it just pushes them to do it just because you told them not to. When Hogwarts was
Yeah.
coming
Oh
out,
yeah, yeah.
there was this whole thing about don't play it because the writer is whatever, whatever, whatever. And I've seen, people buy it just because to get back at those people that said not to do it. They didn't even want to play it, and they didn't even play it.
Yeah.
They just bought it for buying it.
And then it kind of got the tables
hmm
got turned too, right? Because then all the streamers that were getting bullied for playing it, right? It became a big focus on them, and yeah, you're right. The whole main issue kind of just disappeared.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like yeah, like the way that they yeah, like the response to people buying the game was just like, that if anything that hurt the cause. Like attacking people who like Harry Potter, like that was the worst thing to do because now it's like you're attacking people who have been fans for years. Like rather than telling them about, hey, like maybe let's talk about why we're not a fan of it. They just said, nah, find that guy, let's dox him, let's harass him. Like,
Yeah.
Well, it's especially the problem is that the reasoning is that the author made some comments, but the author had nothing to do with the games. The people that made the game is completely separate. It's just they're using the IP that Warner Brothers own. That's it.
Exactly.
That's all.
Exactly.
oh yeah, oh then in that case, I think that well, I don't. They don't have to. They're a company. They don't have to do anything we say. But I think that maybe what they could have done is said, "Hey, we hear your guys' concerns, but know that the person who wrote the book is not any way tied to us."
No, they did. They didn't change anything.
I
Oh,
say,
really?
yeah.
Oh,
I
then
think
that.
they did speak up. Yeah.
Yeah, they
Oh,
they
that.
totally did. That's how I I know that she wasn't part of it, because they said, no, we've been working on this for like 8 years. She has nothing to do with it. We just really like Harry Potter and
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. But it still wasn't enough.
Oh, well, then then in that case, then yeah, then that kind of protesting definitely didn't help anybody. Then, if anything, it just made the whole situation, like you said, it made it worse. Then, because
Yeah.
yeah,
It'd be like Stan Lee saying something terrible, right? And everyone's like, "Oh, let's ban Spider-Man 2 game." It's like, well, no, it's two different things. Like,
oh, then yeah, then definitely, then then in that case, yeah, I can get behind people who are looking at saying this is a nothing argument. I can see people saying that and like agreeing with them in that case. But yeah, you know,
I mean, it's a whole
that's
deep rabbit hole, right? But like, it's like
Yeah.
every generation, right, has I guess that eye-opening moment. They're like, "Wow, this world's shit. Let's fucking rebel and blah blah blah." And it's like, as the past generation going like, "Yeah, we know it's shit. Like it's been shit for a while."
oh yeah, yeah, it's the
Not that
world
it's
has been
right,
burning
but
for so long that I mean, and
yeah,
yeah, it's it's like all we can do is just not get burnt with it.
exactly. Like, like it's good to be angry about something, but it's even better to direct that anger towards, the solution, not just spraying it everywhere.
Oh yeah, definitely. So maybe one day, I can influence some young developer to say, hey, rather than joining Blizzard and Activision, you have a great idea. How about you make your own studio? You get your little developer friends, like you guys should start making something, and then, who knows, maybe you'll pull a Bungie, because like for example, Bungie people, they were just a bunch of college kids making a video game, and then Xbox said, hey, we want you guys to work for us, and they got all that, they got all the money and all the tools, and they were employed by someone who wasn't as bad as Activision. So, it's there's definitely a reality in the world. Sorry, there's definitely a scenario where people who are young and ready to just make video games, like they can have the good ending. They just have to start. They have to start
Well, you
going
need to have a
on
strong
their own.
leadership, because that's what happened. Bungie was like, okay, but everybody from Microsoft stays out of where we work. Like, we don't want any interference from, corporate, basically. They were smart enough to outright say what they wanted and what they didn't want from the start, instead of just saying like, oh yeah, sign me up, right? So
Okay. Oh yeah. Oh well then, if they did, maybe if we can find a way to get leadership, like good active leadership from young people and get passionate young developers, like that's a match made in heaven. And
yeah,
I
because I
mean,
think that's the main problem. There's a lack of leadership, or good leadership.
True.
not that. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, definitely, you're right, 100%. There is, we're missing that person who can look at, we're missing someone who can look at what's happening and saying, yeah, let's not do that. Let's do the opposite of what's happening. We're missing those kind of people, and hopefully we can see it soon. Maybe as time goes on and more kids are being exposed to that toxic environment, maybe one kid will say, you know what, I hate seeing people get hurt and bullied at work, so they might start doing their own thing. And I mean, I mean, Fortnite blew up for no reason, so we can, we'll have we'll have a better ending one of these days. So
It's true.
Well,
I'm waiting
you
for it.
you mentioned something that is true, because earlier you were saying, if only we could, vote with our wallet and say, well, I'm not going to buy this game because this company does X, Y, and Z. A lot of these games are bought by children. They don't get to decide if, they don't, well, they don't get to decide if that part, or they don't have the age to understand, or
Yeah.
how it works. They're just asking their parents, "I want this." The parent don't. They won't say no. You won't have this because this company is a bad company because they did X, Y, and Z. They'll buy it for Christmas because that's what their child wants. So
Yep.
there's
Yeah.
that part as well, which comes into play.
Oh, so then yeah. Oh, then yeah. That's yeah. There's a lot of factors into it. And yeah, you're right. Though. Yeah, I forgot about kids buying games. I kind of just ruled that out. I don't even know why I did that because I mean, yeah, kids. I mean, my high school kids are playing Fortnite. They're playing GTA. They're playing Call of. Yeah. So you're right. They're playing all these games that are made nowadays. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's
Well, you're not
I
the
mean,
only
that's
one. I didn't think about it until you mentioned kids a couple of seconds
well, I was
ago.
gonna say, yeah, like that even ties into the Nintendo conversation too, right? Like, why are we paying $60 for Nintendo games? And you're absolutely right, JW. It's not us. It's kids. If it's a Mario game and they want to get it, mom's gonna pay 60, 70, 80, $90 for that game.
Well, I mean,
oh
it's
yeah.
us and the people that grew up with Mario.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely, yeah, definitely. So yeah, I mean, I can only hope that one day, someone who is like a massive game, like someone who buys games every single day, who pays almost 1,000 for every game, hopefully that when that person says enough is enough, then we'll really get some change because I mean, when the whales start when the whales start arguing with you, then you already lost. So that's hopefully we can get to that point where all these rich gaming people start saying, "Yeah, I'm kind of done with you guys. Bye bye."
Yeah,
well,
but they don't care though. They have all the money in the world.
Oh yeah, not
not
not definitely, definitely. So, you know,
not to say this small podcast is going to change the world or anything, but no,
oh
but
yeah,
like
no,
having
definitely. I mean,
having these open conversations, I think we can all agree on that, right? Having an open conversation, and whether it's kids, adults, whoever it is, saying, "Hey, here's point A, here's point B. I'm just giving you the information. You make the decision from there." But just giving someone that information on both sides, I think, is the way to go, right? That's ultimately going to lead to a better change. Like, you're
oh,
right, Jesse. Like, if someone doesn't understand fully the game that they're buying, or the whole backstory behind it all, whether they care or not, right? Just it's giving that information out there, having access to that whole backstory, I think would make better decisions down the road. Maybe not right away. Maybe it might affect different age groups, maturity level, all that jazz. But it will make small ripples, I think, of change.
oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, and like, you're saying it's a small podcast, and it might be small now, but every day we get more viewers. Every day we get, it might be one viewer, but that one viewer, he might say, you know what, I enjoy this podcast topic, so I'm gonna share it. And then I have learned from Instagram, it only takes one person to make it blow up. So,
True.
hopefully, I know, we're gonna find that person. We're gonna, we're all gamers at heart. We're gonna find that one person who's like, I know all these people who are gamers. I'm gonna tell them about this podcast, and then, maybe you might get a phone call saying, "Hey, Michael, do you want to be this massive gaming podcast host?" Like, I mean, it's possible.
That'd be sweet. But yeah, like, I don't know. In school, I was just thinking, like, that was the best way I learned things, when it was history class, whatever it was, when you were given like all sides of that story. I found you made better decisions, on what was the right pathway, or what's the opinion you should have. Even just talking with you guys, right? There's a lot of times. Oops, sorry, my cats are going crazy. There's a lot of times, like with you, Jesse, or even you, Pizza. We kind of talk about something, and I might have an idea going, like, yeah, I'm for this side, and then as you guys are talking, you're expanding that thought out, and expanding that, what do you call it? Um, yeah, like, whatever, that thought process out. It kind of makes me go like, oh yeah, I never really thought of it from that angle before, and it completely changes your whole view on it, right? It's a shame more people don't get that opportunity. whether it's a small video game topic or if it's a larger topic, right?
Oh, definitely. So yeah, hopefully, I agree with you though about your point. Having both sides. That's just, that's how conversations should go. You have one person on one side, another person on the other side. And then they kind of talk themselves into the middle part, and then they say, "Oh yeah, you know what? I get your point. You get my point." And then of course, we kind of just start having this open conversation and just, I mean,
Exactly.
it just, and like in that case, it kind of just stays open. 'Cause, it's like you can kind of break down these conversations even more and still not come to the conclusion, because it's like like there is no real conclusion to it. It's an open conversation. Like you keep putting ideas out there and suggestions, and of course, like as time goes on, you get more ideas and more suggestions. So yeah, like,
Yeah.
it's a good idea to have it, having that conversation, leaving it open to everybody to kind of interpret it and really give their personal story, give their experiences, their expertise.
Yeah.
It makes the topic even more valuable.
Yeah, like you guys said, not to beat a dead horse already, but you guys said with Harry Potter, right? It started off with, "Oh my God, Harry Potter is a terrible game. Don't buy it because this person said it." Okay, we branched further into that story. Well, actually, like you just said, the developers and all that had nothing to do with the author in this game, right? And so forth, so forth, so forth, right?
But
So yeah,
it's not even only games where that happened. Like there's been this big wave of this happening for years now, and
very like yeah, like you brought up earlier with the movies, right? Like the movie industry, like we could have had a lot, you know, better movies out there if we were more open minded. um, yeah,
it's more like like let others decide what they want to do. Like, who are you to tell that I can't watch, this movie for whatever reason you believe is right?
exactly. Yeah, I agree with you. But yeah, this was a good one, guys. I really like this topic. It started off like an okay topic, and I was like, man, we really branched into something else. I like it. Um, yeah. Thank you guys so much for just joining me tonight. I'm sorry this was a long one. I know we did like a 3 hour one. Sorry if that took up a lot of your guys' time.
Oh no, you're
But I
good, man.
do.
No, I mean, I enjoy having a conversation and just really kind of getting, just getting insight, because like at the end of the day, you're right, like, people who are listening, like they can kind of think about these conversations and just, kind of let it sit in their minds for a while and just, start saying, yeah, you know what, I see their point and I want to add to it with maybe their friends. So yeah, I like these conversations. I like being able to give people some ideas to think about.
Me too. I said I always look forward to it when I make these like topics. I'm just like, man, like I know a lot of us will agree on mostly everything, as far as the subject goes, but it's just interesting to hear every different person's point of view on that subject, right? Because Jesse will focus on one thing, you might focus on another, and I'll focus on something else. And yeah, it's really neat hearing you guys go about that subject, whatever it might be.
I
But
just
yeah,
think there's a lot of extremism, and that it should be diluted because not everything is extreme.
I'm with you. I'm with you, buddy. I definitely think, like I said before, I think there's a lot of anger being sprayed everywhere, and it's not being focused where it needs to be focused on.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, hopefully that changes over time. Maybe we'll start to slowly progress into a different way in the next decade or so.
That'd be nice.
But yeah, thank you guys so much. I appreciate your time tonight. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening.
Oh
You
yeah,
too.
man. Same to you. Same to you.
And what's funny, eh? This podcast crashed about 30 minutes into it. Oops, sorry. I screwed up almost there. It crashed about 30 minutes in. And now all of a sudden it's fine for the next like 2 hours, right? I really don't understand restream and how it works sometimes. Maybe I have to be a paid subscriber so it never has crashed. Maybe that's their little marketing scheme. They're like, you know what? Once you pay, then you can enjoy crash free stream. But yeah, we took on some really sensitive topics there at the end. I think everyone handled it very professionally. Remember, though, this is just our thoughts and opinions. You might have different ones, and you are always more than welcome to shout them out. Um, feel free to on Spotify, on YouTube, where I post these. Anyone is welcome to join my Discord. There is really no rules, no, velvet rope that you have to get across. Um, if you're on my Twitch streams or you go to my Linktree page, you can find my Discord channel on there, and yeah, you can join in. And every single Tuesday, you can pipe up and join the Open Mic podcast. Hopefully, you've seen now 37 episodes. I want to say 37 episodes later, and we are still, still the same as we were during episode 1. But I don't think we've really changed that much. I think we've all been pretty respectful to one another, and yeah, I can't emphasize that enough. It's really cool with all the people that have joined the Discord, how we've always kind of kept that same mindset during every podcast. Anyway, this was a really long one. I know you're probably like, Mindful, shut the hell up. I've been listening to this for 3 hours. Now get to the end. So thank you. I hope you all have a beautiful evening. And hopefully you will be listening to this sooner than 2 weeks late. Maybe I'll finally have my ass caught up at this point. Bye, and have a beautiful night, everyone.